your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes. We are so close, people. So close to Friday, and we're going to help get you there. We call it a Friday Eve here on the Allen Stiles Show with Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass. And we are starting off today's show with a little bit of breaking news. And, it kind of aligns with a lot of the things we were going to talk about today anyway, as far as the ratings with the NBA and why they are so obsessed with taking players out of, I was going to say, their homes or their original cities when they're not drafted to large markets. Why are they so obsessed with this? As Giannis Antetokounmpo has come up, as Ja Morant has come up, and Giannis even got a championship, and they're still talking about it. And this kind of falls in line with it. The San Antonio Spurs all-star and future face of the league, I added that part in there, Victor Wembanyama is expected to miss the remainder of the season with a deep vein thrombosis in the right shoulder. Victor Wembanyama has a form of a blood clot in the right shoulder. He is out for the season. The Spurs believe this is an isolated condition. Look, whenever you hear those two words, there are a lot of scary words when it comes to health, and blood clot, that is a term that is very, very scary, especially for someone Victor Wembanyama's age, being so young. So he's out for the remainder of the season. From a basketball standpoint, just to get it out the way, look, the Spurs weren't really doing anything this season. The move they made for De'Aaron is for the future. They're going to get off of Chris Paul's contract. They're going to move some of the guys that are no longer untouchable because the De'Aaron Fox deal already was made. So they'll be okay. They weren't doing too much this season anyway. They actually weren't playing that well prior to the All-Star break. So it would have been hard for them to get back in the mix. Maybe they would have messed around and got a 10 seed, but that move was for the future. So I don't think the organization was putting too many cards in the deck of this season. But moving forward, they believe it to be an isolated condition, and that's the main thing. What we're going to have to wait to see is it. Now, like Jason said, as we had some crosstalk, like Jason said, we're not going to sit here and try to diagnose, and is this from basketball or is this not? But it's a little bit different than, the Chet Holmgren conversation that we've been having, I think, just from a durability standpoint, but maybe it is similar in a way. Just, hey, doesn't really matter why you're not on the court. You're not on the court. So, yeah, some crazy stuff. Kyle, we have some audio from Shams that just dropped. So let's hear from the man himself.
That this is an isolated condition, that there's one form of a blood clot in that right shoulder of his that will sideline him for the remainder of the season. The hope, obviously, is that there's no spread, that there's nothing more here, and that he's going to be ready to go for the offseason and for the 2025-2026 season. But he, of course, is in a tremendous season so far, and the Spurs had aspirations to contend for a playoff berth, a play-in tournament berth, but that has taken a backseat to this health issue, a health scare that has taken place here with Victor Wembanyama. And obviously we know Greg Popovich remains out indefinitely with a stroke that he had earlier in the season. And now the Spurs will continue on the remainder of the year without Victor Wembanyama, who has been diagnosed with a form of a blood clot in his right shoulder. The Spurs listed Victor Wembanyama as questionable, or actually doubtful, for tonight's game with an illness. But they've been running tests over the last 48 hours, ever since Wembanyama returned from San Francisco, when clearly there were signs of a potential issue in that shoulder. And they were running tests over the last couple of days, and they found really yesterday and into today this diagnosis that has led to a form of a blood clot. And now they will figure out the best treatment plans. And in my research in the Cleveland Clinic, it shows that this is usually a blood clot that forms sometimes in the legs. He has one in his right shoulder that the Spurs will now treat in the coming weeks and months.
So, Kyle, I was trying to listen, and I'm trying to take in everything that he's saying. So he said they were doing tests, but is it because he was having pain?
he didn't specify in the quote.
I'm thinking, did I miss something?
They just noticed something was off in his shoulder, right? I don't know if he was having pain or if there was swelling or what, but there was something that led them to acknowledge something was up in his shoulder. Shams didn't specify, and I only cut that minute and a half. He said other stuff afterwards, but they didn't exactly specify what led to that, just that they noticed something was up with his shoulder. They started doing tests and found this unique blood clot situation. Because like I said, this is normally something you see in legs, and he has one in his right shoulder. And like you said a second ago, we don't know if that's basketball related or not basketball related or what, but I mean, they said he's going to be fine going into the offseason, hopefully, but they have to shut him down for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm looking here just as far as their aspirations this season, which again, this has nothing to do. Even if you're De'Aaron Fox, I don't think you weren't going. I guess when you went to the Spurs, the Kings and the Spurs weren't too far off, but you weren't going there to compete at a high level this season. But the Spurs here are 4.5 games back of the 10 seed. The 10 seed Warriors. So yeah, that thing is cooked. And, look, as far as the draft and things like that, they'll continue to build. I already know they're going to go big fish hunting this offseason. Like I said, this is never any disrespect to De'Aaron Fox. I just have said since he got out there, when they start to contend for a championship, assuming Victor Wembanyama, and we hope the health gets right and he continues on this astronomical path that he's on, De'Aaron Fox will not be the 2 seed. Anyway, he ain't going to be the 1 seed, but De'Aaron Fox will not be. Well, he will not be the 2 seed. So
the number 2.
He won't be the number 2 by the time that happens. So I think they're going to get through this season, play some games, go big fish hunting, get their number 2 option, and rock and roll from there.
And Brian Windhorst said this morning, the expectation is that Fox in 2026 is going to sign a 5-year, $296 million extension. So their future is pretty much set, even though Victor Wembanyama is not,
right.
I feel like, because as much as they can say, oh, they expect it to be in the offseason, they're still in the early stages of figuring out all of this. And if it was such a serious condition that within 48 hours they are like, we have to rule him out for the season, then this is obviously a really big deal. And again, I'm not a doctor, but you think back to Chris Bosh's career ended with blood clot situations, and the Miami Heat doctors said the same thing. He's out indefinitely, and they were just never able to eventually clear him. So obviously different situations, and the Spurs are probably just figuring all of this out at the same time as well.
Yeah, and crazy with the whole health situation, just with the Spurs in general, with Pop and everything that's happened there. The 916 makes a good point, really, really good point, actually. And it would make, I think, Sacramentans sad and Kings fans sad because everybody's looking forward to March 7th. But 916 says, do you think Fox shuts it down to get his hand operated on and they just tank and go for the best draft pick? Yeah, I'm firing up the sim lottery, and without knowing the Spurs situation, it looks like they own their pick. I've done it 3 times and they're still the 10 seed, so I don't know if there's some protection or whatever they have there, but I think that's a good call, 916, because I would do it. I would do it right now if I'm De'Aaron Fox. What are we actually doing?
Well, here's the other spicy part for the Spurs, which is they also have unprotected Atlanta pick for this year. So Atlanta right now is in the playoffs, but if they lose in the play-in, for example, that's a top 14 pick plus their own, plus all the extra picks and young players they didn't give to Sacramento.
Right.
They could just package that and probably not get Cooper Flagg, but they could go up and get Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey or one of those other people at the top of the draft.
Yeah, so some crazy stuff here from Shams Charania coming out of San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama out for the season. And what does this mean for De'Aaron Fox? You're not playing for anything. I mean, Chris Paul, and to be honest, I mean, you find yourself 4.5 games out of the play-in. Like I said, I had found myself on in Spurs Twitter Spaces, just from all the interactions that we had with Spurs media and fans throughout the De'Aaron Fox thing, and they had a lot of issues. Pop ain't there. Let's start there. Pop has not been there, and was this maybe a tryout to see what life would look like after Popovich? Pop ain't there. They're running out Chris Paul. Spurs fans and a lot of the media members don't think that Chris Paul should still be playing, but it's kind of a respect thing. You have Stephon Castle kind of doing his thing. You have some pieces that whether they were untouchable or not in the De'Aaron Fox deal, it doesn't really matter now. Now I sound like De'Aaron Fox, but who do you want to move forward with? Is Devin Vassell someone you want to move forward with? Is Jeremy Sohan somebody that you want to move forward with? So this honestly gives them, I think they're already thinking about this, but it kind of gives them more time. Obviously, I'm assuming that Victor Wembanyama gets his health right and he's back next season, but this kind of gives them more time to figure out what are they doing, who is worth what in that organization with a bunch of young pieces that, somebody I was going back and forth with said, you keep saying they're going to trade and go big fish hunting. And I'm not even saying a trade per se. Somebody might just want to sign there depending on whatever their cap situation is. I know they're not paying too many people a ton of money. So I was more so thinking any free agents that just want to go to San Antonio. But from a trade aspect, yeah, if, all of a sudden, now that it's not Sacramento, a lot of people were saying, look, I don't know what the Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell package even nets you as far as a quote unquote big fish. So that's not to say that De'Aaron Fox will not be the second option going into next season. That just means for me, I'm not sure they're going to compete for a championship. Also depending on that Stephon Castle jump as well.
Yeah, I think they need a scoring forward, but they can probably package Harrison Barnes and Champagnie.
Cam Johnson strikes again.
Yep, that was kind of what I was thinking. If they end up with Cam Johnson, they're just going to be like the Kings 2.0 situation with Harrison and De'Aaron and Jordan McLaughlin and Cam Johnson, who we all thought was going to be a King. And yeah, I think they can probably package Harrison Barnes and Champagnie and a pick and go get that forward. Because I think their 1, 2, 3 in the short term are probably going to be Wemby, Fox, and Castle.
Right. Well, there you have it. Crazy stuff. And we're wishing Victor Wembanyama the best. Blood clots and thrombosis. None of it sounds good. So we are thinking good thoughts for Victor Wembanyama. The NBA is much better when he is on the court. They need him right now. And we'll tell you why they need him. The all-star ratings are in. So we tie a bow on that and tie that into why does the NBA keep trying to steal these stars from these small markets? Let us have nice things. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
figuring out what is next for the Sacramento Kings, of course, but also the San Antonio Spurs. Word just came out that Victor Wembanyama is out for the remainder of the season, and he's dealing with a blood clot. Just some crazy stuff coming out of San Antonio. He's expected to miss the remainder of the season with deep vein thrombosis in the right shoulder. Of course, there is a joke in there, not about Victor Wembanyama, but about De'Aaron Fox having to be the number one option again. But I'm going to be the bigger person today and let everybody else do it. And I already have some texts on my personal phone from my buddy saying, you got to think De'Aaron Fox is juiced to be the number one again. Oh, I'm sure he is. I'm just waiting for the next breaking news. De'Aaron Fox will have surgery on his pinky that's turned the wrong way.
When it breaks.
De'Aaron Fox will have surgery so his pinky turns the right way.
You think he's going to Draymond it between Draymond playing when Steph plays?
I would, though. I'm not even hate. I'm going to have fun with it. But if I were him, that is the smart thing to do. Why are you playing?
Well, because you're trying to ingratiate yourself with a new team. And
does De'Aaron Fox? Well, actually, I saw a clip, and I'm not trying to go there, but he's the elder statesman now on this team with all the young guns, and he was saying they didn't know who a certain player was on the other team, or it was a coach who used to play, and he was saying, "Man, these kids, man."
Oh, I saw this clip.
That?
I'll see if I can find it real quick because I saw it earlier.
Well,
but,
he cusses, of course.
But. Well, the one I saw was bleeped out,
yeah.
We'll see if we can find it. But it was It was Taj Gibson for the Charlotte Hornets.
Gibson, that's right.
Taj Gibson pulled down a rebound, and one of the other veterans, I'm guessing it was Harrison, but one of the other veterans is like, these kids don't know who bleeping Taj Gibson is.
Right. Well, and I think you're onto something with the ingratiating himself. I wouldn't care about any of that. I really wouldn't. You're not getting all the whole thing is cooked now. I wouldn't care about any of that. I would get your hand right and say, we're about to bleep up the league next season. That's what I would say if I were De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, and he's also a competitor and likes playing basketball and was willing to play through the hand injury for a Sacramento Kings team that kind of told him they didn't want him. Why are you doing this
to me? Why are you putting me in a position to throw shade? I don't want to. You are literally testing me.
I know.
To throw shade, and I'm not going to do it. We wish him the best, but yeah.
We might have gotten to this later, but the Rich Paul thing about I was very happy De'Aaron Fox wanted to go to San Antonio also.
Don't tease that too soon. We're going to get there. But it comes up earlier simply because of this whole Victor Wembanyama thing, but it turns into, and the Victor Wembanyama situation, why is San Antonio immune to this small market thing? Let's say let's say next season, whatever it is, he comes back healthy and they're rocking and rolling, but they don't get it done. De'Aaron is still number 2. They don't get it done the next couple years. San Antonio is not immune from Victor Wembanyama going to the Lakers or going to a big market, right?
Well, the problem is restricted free agency means Wemby has no player empowerment until...
I'm saying eventually.
Yeah, I guess the thing is we're 5 years away from that possibly happening because even when you get drafted, you are essentially stuck on that team for 6 years or 5 years.
If they will have you.
Yes, if they will have you. I mean, look at Zion. Think about everything awful that's happened with the Pelicans and Zion not going the way anyone wanted. This is year 6 for Zion in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And they still gave him the extension, obviously with all the clauses for health. So I think it will be a thing with Wemby, but in 4 years, he's going to have a new coach because Greg Popovich will be 80 years old.
Right.
De'Aaron Fox will probably still be a Spur, but De'Aaron Fox will be 32 years old at that point. Stephon Castle will be in his 5th season by that point. It's just so much can change before Wemby even has a chance to push him out. They haven't even gotten started yet. Why would he push out?
That's what they do. All right, let's get to these NBA All-Star ratings and why these stars get pushed out, because everything is better when you're on the Lakers. Right. By the way, coming up on the show at some point, did we crown the Lakers too early And there's something going around, and people are having fun. What did Nico Harrison know? That's been going around social media because Luka hasn't been great so far. But speaking of not great, here are the NBA All-Star ratings. Second lowest rated Sunday and the lowest rated Saturday of all time. Just when you think it can't get worse for the NBA, it seems like that is happening. The NBA All-Star ratings over the last 25 years have not been going in the right direction. They have declined and declined and declined. They had the last decent jump. Actually, last season, it was still low, but last season in 2024, it was at a 5.4 million. It dropped down to 4.7 million this season. So it's not been moving in the right direction. Just for a little bit of context, 2010 was 6.8 million, and you had 2011 was 9.1 million. So you had some great days in there as recent, and I know it feels like we've been talking about this forever, but as recent as 2017, it was a 7.8. So from 2017, when I feel like we were complaining. We've been complaining about the All-Star for a while, but to give it some context, 2017, it was a 7.8 million. And in 2025, it's 4.7 million. So if you thought it was bad, a couple years ago, it's really bad now. And in 2020, I think maybe 2020, there was just a little fiending for sports in general. 2020 did a 7.3.
Well, remember the 2020 All-Star game was February of 2020, which if you'll remember, that was the post-Kobe Bryant death.
That's right.
All-Star in Chicago.
That's when they were battling for the kids, and the kids were on the courts, and they said, "Give me some." They were not getting any money.
By the way, this is just a random side note before I get into the actual point. Did you see that they had the $100,000 in cash on the court for the All-Star game? Yeah. And someone on the TV caught Kyrie taking $8 out of the bin before walking away. Like someone caught on the TNT camera this $100,000 bin of cash, and Kyrie's grabbing like $8 out of the bin before he walks away. Anyways, that was also the NBA 75 All-Star game. So that was when you had Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and everyone all on the court, everything. So 2020 was the kind of perfect, or maybe I'm one off there, but a perfect confluence of events. I think that was 2021, but the Kobe Bryant one was 2020 actually. Yeah. So yeah, the 7.3 one held pretty steady if you look at it. Between 2010 and 2019, they were both 6.8 million. It's just been in the last 5 years when the ratings have plummeted.
Look, I don't want to be that guy, but I do feel like maybe, and technically it wasn't rock bottom. Technically 2 years ago was rock bottom. In 2023, it was a 4.6, which was worse. And based on this scale, that was the worst of all time. So, but this was a 4.7, so pretty damn bad.
I would guess next year's going to break that all-time low.
No, I'm going in the other direction. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I actually think that all of the talk about it and making these guys do this three-way round robin tournament or whatever you want to call it, I do think that they'll show up to play.
Well, there's also one more thing I think could prove to be your point. Won the All-Star games in Los Angeles. It's at the Intuit Dome, but still Los Angeles. And there is a non-zero chance that we will be having the LeBron James retirement tour next year. And so that All-Star game will be a celebration of LeBron in Los Angeles for his final season.
That's a good point, and that'll help them. All right, let's continue this conversation on the NBA ratings and why. First it's Ja, now it's Giannis. They took De'Aaron, but De'Aaron actually went to another small market, but the alien is there. What's up with the NBA and this obsession with large markets, and why doesn't the NFL have to worry about this? Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
Malik Monk plays here.
Started left, goes right, steps back, launches the three. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Sacramento Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
News. Sacramento weather is brought to you by Northwest Exteriors.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA3 Weather Center for your Thursday. Looking at some areas of patchy fog for the morning commute. A cool start as we head through the afternoon. We're looking at mostly sunny skies with a bit of a north breeze. Temperatures up this afternoon, highs peaking in the upper 60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
Northwest Exteriors wants to keep you warm this winter with our $89 furnace tune-up. Trusted in Sacramento for heating and cooling systems. Book your tune-up today as part of our 30th anniversary special. Call 888-TRUST-NW or visit trustnorthwest.com.
Simply the best. Trust Northwest.
It was 1879 when the first President's Day was established, and it's been a holiday ever since. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. I'm guessing when the Keys family opened the first Naturewood Home Furnishing store in 1948, a President's Day sale was not top of the mind. But the family probably celebrated the holiday with a picnic and a big slice of cherry pie. The store name Naturewood was selected to reflect the quality of the wood furniture for sale. And that focus on quality continues today with brands like FlexSteel, Trailway, Stickley, Fusion Designs, Stanton, and many, many more. The Naturewood Home Furnishings President's Day sale is the perfect time for you to find the right accent piece for your living room, a new bed for your bedroom, or to completely refurnish your entire home. See all the fine furniture and accessories on sale with Naturewood's President's Day sale. Find that perfect piece of furniture that's new today and filled with memories for tomorrow. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
The huge President's Day sale is on at Maida Chevy, Sacramento's Silverado headquarters.
Save $10,250 off MSRP after rebates on new half-ton Silverado LT after rebates with over 50 in stock.
And Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area.
$10,250 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
I'm George Washington, and I approved this message. Not available with special financing, leasing, some other offers. 5 at the Southern Rust on 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back. May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cone Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with the California Army National Guard. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Look, man, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be the bigger person, but a lot of you out there trying to, and I get it. Trust me, I get it. Trying to take a victory lap over Victor Wembanyama. Not him being out. Nobody is doing that. But saying, have fun with that, Fox. Have fun with that. I will say this. This was a move for the future. We get it. And like I said, I don't think De'Aaron, when Rich Paul comes out and says, you should probably just move me now. When they say that, I don't think they're saying that thinking we're going to have that deep playoff run that De'Aaron so wants this season. So I don't think that De'Aaron was expecting anything. But if you want a victory lap and say De'Aaron has to play with a bunch of scrubs and be a first option again, have fun with that. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to stop you because it was a tough breakup. So I'm not going to stop you. But we all know that this move for De'Aaron wasn't about this season. We know that. But I will not stop you. Somebody said, have fun with Bismack Biyombo. I'm not going to stop. I don't even know if he's on the Spurs. Is he on the Spurs? But somebody said that. I hear you. I hear you. I did like what somebody had to say on the text line when they said, what if Fox shuts it down to fix that finger? I think that's the smartest thing for him to do. I don't know if he'll do it. As Kyle elaborated, he might want to try to ingratiate himself and play through the tough times. I wouldn't be doing all that if I'm De'Aaron Fox.
It's the same thing we talked about when De'Aaron was here. It's like the finger is probably the one injury in basketball that least affects your actual day-to-day abilities.
Right.
It might affect your ability to shoot or dribble at times, but like day-to-day, breaking your finger might be the least damaging injury in terms of like actually affecting your abilities. So I understand why. Also, to that texter, Bismack Biyombo signed a 10-day with the Spurs.
Good on you.
That is a really deep cut, and I'm so impressed with that texter.
Yes, good on you. Yeah, this was from another 916. Wow, Wemby done for the season. Full tankathon mode engaged. Enjoy Fox without Wemby. Spurs. Oh, they're actually talking to the Spurs fans. So, yeah, we'll see all that happens there. We have some notes on what Rich Paul had to say about the move a little bit later in the show, but we're continuing. It's all kind of connected together with these ratings and All-Star and face of the league and this face of the can I just say I'm kind of tired of the face of the league convo and how I saw somebody, Anthony Edwards needs to do it. Just do it. And Kevin Durant actually had some good notes on what does that even mean, right? What are we actually talking about? When Michael Jordan, obviously when Nike signed Michael Jordan and they were marketing him, they had a feeling, hey, this guy can take us somewhere we want to be. But that's because that was somewhere the NBA hadn't been before, right? We're in a different time now. So it's just an organic thing. That's why Ja messed up with his Instagram Live, because I do think it was organically going to be Ja. He represents a lot of kids and who they want to be. But besides the organic part of it, you don't just say, hey, it's beginning of the season, who wants to be face of the league? It just happens. So unfortunately for the NBA, they're trying to, whether it's ESPN or whoever it is, trying to force this conversation. It's just going to happen organically, and it still doesn't mean that face of the league, very similar to the interim beam team. There could be interim faces of the league, right? You have seen the NBA, it's quite possible, they're just going to have a lull. It is what it is, right? Michael Jordan took it to a certain level. Then it led you right into Kobe Bryant. Then that led you right into LeBron. Then you also had Steph on top of LeBron, and you also had Kevin Durant. And there are a bunch of stars in the Kobe era that I'm leaving out, and same with Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan was different because NBA was just going to a different place. Now that is, those guys, that the sun is setting on their careers, we just got to wait it out. And I know that's not what, look, I don't work for the NBA technically. So if you're an NBA marketer, you're saying, no, we can't. We have to figure this out. You got Wemby. When he gets good, you'll be okay. Maybe it will be Anthony Edwards, but the face looks different. Maybe it could still be Ja Morant. Maybe people finally start to appreciate Jason Tatum after another championship. Maybe it could be Shea because everybody wants to have their own clothing brand. I don't know. But what I do know is you can't force these things, and you can't say, hey, come over here. Anthony Edwards, come over here. Come be face of the league. It's your turn now. That's not how it works. And the way that they're having this conversation about, Anthony Edwards needs to figure out why he doesn't want to be face of the league. He needs to take this over. That's just not how it works. It's never worked like that. And I guess in a way with LeBron, I would say Steph was more organic than LeBron, even though he did his thing at Davidson. LeBron, we knew he was literally called the chosen one. So I get it. And you just have to wait. And you literally have that with Wembanyama. And the timeline has been pretty darn good. So just is it because people are worried because he's not American? I don't know. I do not know.
Well, I think what is so unique about LeBron is that he was always so excellent compared to his peers that it kind of became like a cult of personality thing. And we always make the joke, how does this affect LeBron? How does this affect LeBron? That carried conversation on a national NBA level for so long that the pivot was never, they made the conscientious choice. We're going to squeeze every little bit out of LeBron, Steph Curry, and to a lesser extent, Kevin Durant. Although Kevin Durant kind of became like before it was LeBron was the villain, and then LeBron became the hero, Kevin Durant, and LeBron, I think, became the quote-unquote hero after winning in 2016. Then it was Kevin Durant kind of assumed the role of the bad guy villain.
Yeah, and it just didn't hit the same.
No, but I think also it was for the wrong reasons. It was for, people saying it wasn't honorable what he did in Golden State when he was the reason why Golden State won those championships.
Yeah, I'll say this. I actually think that 2016, that was, in my opinion, even if you're a Warriors fan, I know it hurts you, but there's a reason they continue to play that finals match. It was a lot of people, that was the most people confused on how they feel, because people hated LeBron, but people were starting to hate Steph and the shimmy and the Splash Bros. So there was just hate, love, everything. I honestly feel like the NBA started to go down after that finals because that was just peak NBA basketball. After that, when Durant comes, you have part 2, part 3, and neither of those, they almost lost to the Spurs and then the Rockets, but you just felt like, okay, the Warriors are going to figure this out. And then everything kind of blows up after that. And Steph does his thing in 2022. But 2026, I honestly feel like leading up to that, the NBA was honestly better when LeBron was a villain. I feel like LeBron was a better villain than hero because nobody cared about that Lakers championship in 2020.
No, but I will say the 2018 playoff run where LeBron's carrying the bums in Cleveland to the finals, everyone was just like, you've beaten the respect out of me.
I'm saying specific. Well, I don't know though, because you still had, 2018, they still had Kyrie, they still had Kevin Love.
No, 2017. 2018 was the year where he's carrying the J.R. Smith and the...
That's right. That's the pass, when J.R. didn't pass it.
Yeah, that's when it was him and just dudes. It was him, Larry Nance, J.R. Smith, and just dudes carrying them. And Kevin Love was also there, but Kevin Love was not Kevin Love at that point of his career.
Yeah. Was Kyrie hurt?
No, Kyrie was already on Boston at this point.
Oh, that's right. That's when they got Isaiah Thomas, and Isaiah Thomas... This was the year, and then they traded Isaiah Thomas and Dwayne Wade and everything else. Yeah.
Here's kind of my 2 cents on that, which is in 2019, which was the last year of the Warriors, when Kevin Durant tore his Achilles and the Warriors were terrible after that. By that point in the league, LeBron James was already a Laker, which that was the point when they should have pivoted to LeBron's not the face of the league anymore. But then they won the championship.
But who would have been the face?
Well, this is the thing, is they decided to continue squeezing that out despite the fact that who are the last 6 NBA MVPs? It's either been Giannis, Jokic, or Joel Embiid. Those were the 3 guys they should have tried to make one of the face of the league, so then one of the next players could have assumed the mantle from them. It shouldn't be Anthony Davis is trying to assume the mantle from LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Steph, because there's no way any of those people could be as famous as LeBron, Kevin Durant, or Steph right now. It's going to take 10 years of winning to get to that point. And even then, I think the NBA has just changed the rules so much that parity is kind of the name of the game at this point. There is no team that's going to go on a run of winning 4 consecutive finals anytime soon, because the super team era is just kind of gone in the NBA at this point.
Yeah, and all teams are very balanced, so unless you have a true game changer, we're just not going to see a team that just has a chokehold or a player in like LeBron. Maybe we'll see what happens with Wembanyama or some of these other guys, but the way LeBron just had a chokehold on the finals, right? And the Eastern Conference Finals, and then he goes to the West. You're just not going to see that. And as much as people hated it, you're watching to see them lose, and you're not watching to see anyone lose right now in the NBA. And I think that's also part of the problem. On the other side, the NBA needs to prepare, and they got bigger problems, in my opinion, than the All-Star game. They need to prepare for the future, and they need to prepare for the future quickly. Okay, with that being said, they're trying to get Giannis out of Milwaukee again, But I'll tell you why Luka leaving the Lakers might be the scariest thing for the league. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khdk.com.
There's a reason why more and more people are coming from all over to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Folsom, Elk Grove, Woodland, Roseville. And it's not just because they're centrally located next to Hagan Oaks Golf Course. It's because they make the car buying experience different than anywhere else. Yeah, of course they can get you a great price. That's the easy part. Where their general manager, Chuck Dean, and his team really make a difference is they don't believe you should have to sacrifice great customer service to get a great deal. Stomp on in today and see for yourself. That's Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. It's the place where a handshake still means something.
Ad paid for by RFA cancellation. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-823-1687. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-823-1687. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-823-1687. That's 800-823-1687. Again, 800-823-1687.
The sewer system. It's probably the last thing on your mind, and that's okay. Because at the Sacramento Area Sewer District, it's our first priority. As the region's largest sewer utility, we own and maintain thousands of miles of sewer pipe. And our job is to get to your sewer problem before it interrupts your life. So whether you've got a slow drain or a backup, call us first, day or night. The Sacramento Area Sewer District. It's a dirty job, but we're happy to do it.
Ad paid for by RFA cancellation. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-823-1687. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-823-1687. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-823-1687. That's 800-823-1687. Again, 800-823-1687.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Your home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
From the 916, I was hate watching the Lakers last night from Jeff. You know, a little jealous they got Luka. He was terrible last night, all sweaty and out of shape. I ended up thinking they aren't going anywhere. Ha ha. Jeff, what did Nico know? Well, he told us what he knew. He told us what he thought. He argued with the refs. He's fat, and we're not going to give him a Supermax. That's literally what he told us. Look, maybe we crowned them a little early, or maybe it's a little early to think that they're not. I'm still very scared of them.
Oh, my take from the moment the trade happened is starting to come true.
And what was that?
Everyone's going to be unhappy with this. Every single party involved in this trade is going to end up unhappy because of this trade.
There's no way this doesn't work. It's not possible.
I'm telling you, every single party, the Dallas Mavericks, the Los Angeles Lakers, Rob Pelinka, Nico Harrison, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, everybody is going to end up unhappy because of this trade.
All right. Well, I'll tell you in about a couple minutes here why I think if Kyle is right, we are in for a ride.
I'm not saying it won't work out because I just said unhappy because, again, the Dallas Mavericks could win 10 games in a row and they will still be chanting Fire Nico in the arena.
Let's get to this sound first on Giannis, and then we'll do the Luka sound. Let's get to this sound on Giannis. Once again, the conversation about Giannis moving on from the Bucks.
Matt, everyone knows Giannis Antetokounmpo loves the Bucks, but I'm here to tell you he loves winning more, and that's why everyone within that Bucks organization, they know what's at stake this season. They know the pressure, and every summer when Giannis looks around and he looks at the Bucks' current roster, he looks at sustained long-term winning. Where will he be able to find that? And he has said publicly on the record, if he feels like that's not attainable anymore in Milwaukee, he will look elsewhere. But of course, he has tried always to make everything work in Milwaukee. Even just this season, they've gone out and gotten Kyle Kuzma. This is a team with Damian Lillard, Kyle Kuzma, Doc Rivers. They're paying Doc Rivers a significant amount after letting go of Adrian Griffin as well. So essentially paying two coaches at once over the last year or so. And Giannis has been playing otherworldly this season. You think about MVP candidates, he's right up there with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic.
That was Shams on the Giannis situation. And you know what? I'm kind of to the point I don't want Giannis to leave because it doesn't really matter to me. And I think Milwaukee appreciates him, but I am tired of doing this dance every season. The Dame thing, I feel worse for Dame because this was supposed to be his opportunity. And Dame went on deeper runs in the West with CJ McCollum. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel bad if Giannis does leave. And now we got this news that Bobby Portis took some, a painkiller or something like that he wasn't supposed to take. So Bobby Portis is suspended, Kyle, for the rest of the season?
25 games. He'll come back with 2 games left in the regular season.
So here it is. Bobby unintentionally took a pain medication called Tramadol, thinking he was taking a pain medication called Toradol. Toradol is an approved pain medication that he has used previously and that teams and players use for pain and inflammation at times. Tramadol, however, is not an approved pain medication, and was just recently added to the banned substance list this past spring. Bobby is a great person, teammate, and professional, and has a wonderful reputation in our league, his communities, and team. There are no bigger fans of the NBA than Bobby and I, and we are grateful to have closely and collaboratively worked with the NBA on countless occasions. We support the league's anti-drug policy and its purpose in having a fair, competitive, healthy landscape for our athletes as it relates to drugs of abuse, performance-enhancing issues, etc. Bobby is absolutely not a drug abuser.
Wait, that was in the quote? Yes. Wait, really?
Yes, from Mark Bartelstein of Priority Sports.
I also love the line where it's like Bobby is a pillar of his team. What was that?
Bobby is a great person, teammate, and professional.
Yeah, there was the one where he's like in every organization that he's been, which is the point that I remind you again that the reason Bobby Portis left the Chicago Bulls was because he punched Nikola Mirotic in the face.
So he's not a drug abuser, but he will be out for 25 games. At this point, I'm looking at the Bucks thinking, just pull the Band-Aid off. I don't know, and I don't feel like doing the where could he go thing right now. We have plenty of time to do that. I just mostly, especially seeing Dame back in the Bay Area, Oakland's finest. I just feel bad for Dame because I know he's in his mid-30s, and I'm not really sure what is next for him. I don't know. And I don't know. I think his market that would have been interesting. De'Aaron's market or Dame's market. De'Aaron's market is higher, but I am interested. I think.
Yeah,
right?
but if they're trading Dame, they're doing it for a rebuilding package, I would assume.
Right. So probably an easier situation where the Kings were trying to, hey, we don't necessarily want to go away quite yet.
Yeah, and just to clarify something, so Bobby Portis will come back on April 8th, which is 4 games left in the regular season and 11 days before the playoffs start. To your point about just ripping the Band-Aid off for the Bucks, this is how you're supposed to exit a franchise, right? If Giannis wants to win, they've done everything they can and more at this point.
And he already has one.
Yeah, for sure. And they've been all in now for 7 years, and you can't be all in for that long. Their first all-in move they made, this is so long ago now, they traded for Eric Bledsoe when Eric Bledsoe was like, I don't want to be here anymore in Phoenix. Or what was it? I don't even really want to be here. And that was in 2018. So they've been all in, quote unquote, for 7 years now. They've traded every single pick. They've spent in the luxury tax for 5 years. They then traded Drew Holiday, who they gave up all the picks for, to get Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
And they have no future first-round picks. They have no salary cap flexibility. They just traded Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma in a last desperation effort. Like, Giannis, they've given you everything, and you've won a lot. Have you also gone 1,000 days since the last time you won a playoff game? Yes, that is also true. But you've also won a lot in Milwaukee. They've done literally everything they can for Giannis, and I think it's probably time for everyone. If he wants to keep winning.
Right.
If he doesn't want to do the, I'm a Buck for life, and I don't care if we're a play-in team like the Warriors for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm good. I've done everything here.
So we'll see what happens there. This is what I wanted to get to, though, and we have more sound about Luka, and this is a rare situation where Luka might leave the big market. Obviously, it was a trade, and this whole thing was sticky, but here is some sound on the Lakers needing to convince Luka to stay.
The pressure is on the organization between now and August 2nd to get Luka to sign that extension. That's where the pressure is, because Luka doesn't have his incentive to sign in L. He never said, I want to be a Laker. There's dozens of players over the years who make it crystal clear they want to be Lakers. Luka never said that. This hit him out of the blue. It cost him $100 million. He has got to see how they build this team around him and what they do in June and July for when August 2nd comes. The Lakers ain't winning a championship this year. Their big moment is whether or not Luka commits to the future so that they can properly try to do this again with a new face of the franchise.
So this is what I'm worried about. If it doesn't work, I guess you're kind of screwed either way, because either it works out with the Lakers or my theory comes to fruition. If it doesn't work out with the Lakers, you know where Luka's going, right? Because the question was always, hey, are you going to come to Dallas? Or, hey, are you going to come to Denver? The idea was both of us are franchise guys, so how could that work? Now that Luka has broken, because once you break from you can be a franchise guy again, but you're never going to connect to a team the same way that you would to your first team being that franchise guy. So if it doesn't work out with the Lakers, Luka will be a Denver Nugget. That's happening.
It's funny because on I have this interesting tweet up here from a little account called Kyle Ledbetter on Twitter.
Loser.
Yeah, total dork. At 10:48 p.m. on February 1st, the day Luka got traded. Sending this now so I can retweet July 2026. Without the Supermax, Luka is going to end up with Jokic and the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
I said it the minute the trade happened. I'm like, he's not going to stay with the Lakers because he has no financial incentive to stay with the Lakers, and the Lakers are a poorly run organization, and he's going to go play with his best friend Jokic.
Jokic is 30, okay? So by that time, and he actually, yeah, he literally just turned 30 yesterday. So by that time, he'd be 32. No, he'd be 31. So, and you know, both these guys, they don't want to play for a long period of time. That would be really the only opportunity for them to do it. And then I guess we can have that conversation. Would they be as unstoppable as we think? Probably. I don't know. We can have it when it actually happens, if it actually happens. But that is probably what's going to happen. And you can still blame the Dallas Mavericks because it would have been at least tougher for Luka looking at a Supermax and turning that down. And maybe, you know, there are a lot of friends that always wanted to play together and never did just because of financials and things like that. But now that Luka has broken from that, he will be a Denver Nugget. He will. All right, let's get into some Sacramento Kings talk as we hit the 11 o'clock hour. And talking about the Dallas Mavericks, there is a star who will be evaluated in 2 weeks. How does that affect the Kings' probability of not just getting out of the play-in, getting into the top half of the play-in? We'll tell you who it is and what it means when we return. Now, Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Is your garage door stuck in the winter blues? Well, February is the perfect time to give it some love. Jason Ross here to tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. And they're here to keep your garage door running smoothly. This February, they're spreading the love with their Sweetheart Special, $150 off a garage door with the purchase of a garage door opener. Now, the experts at Overhead Door Company of Sacramento provide fast, reliable service that's always on time and always done right. From squeaky hinges to full door replacements, they've got you covered. So don't let your garage door be the heartbreaker this season. Visit overheaddoorofsacramento.com for your free estimate. You can get in touch with them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, opening doors to your home and your hearts this February and all throughout the year. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Elk Grove Honda reports that Honda has earned 3 coveted 2025 Car and Driver 10 Best Awards for the 3rd year in a row, honoring the Honda Civic, Honda Accord, and Honda CR-V. Honda Accord wins for a record 39th time. You can see and drive all the new 2025 award-winning models at Elk Grove Honda and see why Honda cars and trucks continue to impress the critics. We're Elk Grove Honda in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery. One of the most common questions I receive is what makes us different from other law firms. At Gingery, Hammer & Associates, we handle your case from beginning to end. Whether your case reaches a settlement, whether we need to file suit, or even take it all the way to trial, we will be with you along the entire way. And because we are committed to you and your case, we are as invested as you are in making sure you get the outcome you deserve. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
Sherry, what have you done to your hair?
What do you mean? Does it not look good?
It doesn't look good. It looks freaking amazing. I can't believe how thick and healthy it looks. Oh, I must know your secret.
No secret. It's hair volume from New Nordic.
Hair volume, huh? Well, it certainly lives up to its name. Your hair has never looked so thick. It is gorgeous.
I was so tired of having thin and brittle hair. Ugh, and the shedding. So I figured I'd give hair volume a try. Needless to say, I'm thrilled with the results. Hey, where are you going?
I'm going to pick up some hair volume right now. My reunion's next month, and I want my hair to look as good as yours.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or your local CVS. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Help your hair look full, voluminous, and beautiful again at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that Black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
You turned your dating app for pets into a business, which just turned over its first billion. You turned around the fortunes of a failing football club, politely turned down a Nobel Peace Prize, and turned up on Mars in your own reusable rocket, all while struggling to turn on the dishwasher. There's more to imagine when you listen. Discover business development titles on Audible.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SacktownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Your local sports leader in the 916.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140. Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
1 hour down, 3 to go. Chris Biderman joins us at 11:30 to talk expectations for the Kings. What is going to happen down the stretch for Sacramento? Will they be able to make it make sense? And at this point, I think all the teams in that playing category, they control their own destiny, but they also don't. And it's going to be interesting how the Kings, we played the schedule game yesterday. We're looking at the hope is 17 wins, okay? 17 wins, and we should feel really good about getting to the top half of the play-in. 17 wins, getting to that 7 or 8 seed, win, and you're in. I know it's quite the fall from grace, but hey, this is where we're at right now in the world of Sacramento Golden One Center and the Sacramento Kings. Speaking of the help that they may need, and speaking of the Luka trade, this is from 16 minutes ago. Chris Haynes, Dallas Mavericks say Anthony Davis adductor strain is progressing well and will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. So, if you are a Mavericks fan, you get excited because, yeah, it's progressing well. But remember, that's 2 weeks to be reevaluated, not to
it doesn't really matter.
Not to return to the court, or return in any action. That's 2 weeks to then be reevaluated, right? So they're just letting him kind of heal up and do his thing. And then in 2 weeks, and how many games are going to go by in 2 weeks as things kick back off? And they technically started yesterday, but things kick off today and tomorrow. 2 weeks. I mean, that's at least, you would think, 4, maybe 5 games, maybe more than that. So that's good to know. I've been praising the Mavericks on the court because they've been playing their butts off, and Kyrie's been playing really well. It does seem a bit unsustainable. They did, bring in Moses Brown on a 10-day, but you would think, all right, again, thinking about the help and kind of process of elimination, the Kings have a really easy stretch, or I would say an easier stretch than the next stretch of the season coming up. You can take advantage of this and maybe put the Mavericks in a tough spot.
So 2 weeks from today would be March 6th, which is disorienting to say out loud. This time is flying by. Between now and March 6th, the Dallas Mavericks will play 7 games.
If you're a Kings fan, that's great. That is great. And that's just to be reevaluated. So now you get to the point, again, doing process of elimination. And I know, Kyle, you wanted it 9-10. If anybody that watches Netflix, if you watch You, the last season is coming up. You is a great series on Netflix. It was always you, Golden State Warriors. What if it's Warriors Kings 7-8? That could be it too.
Would that take some of the luster off of it because whoever wins?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't want 9-10. So I don't care about luster, mustard. Did you see Mustard? DJ Mustard got a deal with Heinz Mustard. I saw that commercial this morning. I don't care about any of that. I will take, because I am pretty high on this Warriors team. I think they're going to roll. I don't feel good about the Kings tomorrow night, but after that, things get a bit easier for them. And I know I'm not trying to disrespect the Timberwolves. I just think something is missing. I think something's missing on the Kings, but that's more understandable than the Timberwolves. I think that if the Kings can get hot, I just feel like the Warriors are going to be able to sneak into that 7 or 8, and maybe you're looking at the Mavericks odd man out. It's just a tough road ahead of them, and I have no reason to not believe in the Timberwolves other than they're here and they haven't had any drama. They just haven't been good.
I mean, they are a top 5 defense in the league.
But they're just, but they are who they are.
But they can defend people.
They can defend.
And the Sacramento Kings can't do that.
And they definitely can't defend Julius Randle. He goes crazy against the Kings. So, look, maybe I'm probably underselling the Timberwolves, but I got to undersell somebody in order for the Kings to get
I think it's just the Mavericks. I think you just got to hope it's the Mavericks, and one game against either the Rockets or the Timberwolves or the Clippers, you could say the Kings got a shot in a one-game winner go home, but I don't like their chances. We talked about it with the schedule game yesterday. If they finish between right now 12 and 19 wins, which is very, very likely, they'll be in the play-in. So they'd have to either go on a heater of all heaters and win 20 of their last 27 games, or avoid losing 18 of their last 27 games, and they'll be in the play-in.
So that is what's going on with the Dallas Mavericks, and that leads us into our tier conversation. And we have some different tiers that Kyle has cooked up, trying to figure out where the Kings would fall right now. We have tier 1 with the championship contenders, tier 2 with the expect to win one playoff series at least, tier 3 win now but not championship good, tier 4 young teams making first playoff run, tier 5 lost their direction, tier 6 league pass teams, and tier 7 capture the flag. That is for obviously Cooper Flag out there at Duke, or one of the big pieces from this draft. Yeah, looking at this, Kyle, I see you have the Kings.
I didn't put the Kings in any tier.
I saw the Spurs. So you have the Spurs as a league pass team. You could drop them down to capture the flag.
Well, here's why they can't be capture the flag, because I think the Spurs could lose every single game the rest of the season, and the best they could get is 5th best odds. Because do you think Charlotte's going to win 9 more games?
No. And that explains why the Tankathon sim never had them, and it wouldn't move. They wouldn't move past 10.
Yeah, because Toronto. Do you think Toronto's going to win 7 more games? I think they're going to. There's a chance they won't. So the highest they could even get to is 6 at this point, which is fine for them. They're going to get a very good player,
right?
But what is it? 35% chance of landing a top 4 pick, which is kind of all you want this year. You might get Cooper Flag, but Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper, also pretty good consolation prizes. So
yeah,
I think they're still a league pass team, right?
Not without Wemby.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right.
Yeah, not without Wemby.
But they're also not capture the flag. So for all intents, let's just leave them in league pass for now.
Okay.
League pass teams, by the way, are San Antonio, Brooklyn, Toronto, and Portland.
Right. I think this is an easy one for me. I mean, the Kings are tier 5. They just lost their direction. That's who they are.
Lost their direction. I feel like it just depends on whether you feel like they are going in a direction or not at this point. I mean,
I don't think they are.
The teams there, Phoenix, Chicago, Miami, and Philadelphia, in defense of the Kings, because I think I probably agree with you, all those teams are below 500. And the Sacramento Kings are not far behind, obviously, but they are closer to the Tier 3 group than they are to the Tier 5 in terms of record. You look at all those teams and you just don't know what they're doing at this point.
I would say this. We need another tier we're just praying we make the playoffs.
Is that just the Kings by themselves?
That's just them. We're just trying to do enough to make the playoffs. That's their tier.
Is that the Kings and the Suns at this point?
Yeah. We're just praying we make the playoffs. That's it.
I don't know. To give them defense, so here's the group in win now, but not championship good. It's Indiana, the Clippers, Minnesota, Dallas, and Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
I get Minnesota and Dallas were in the conference finals last year, so the Kings it's hard to make that defense there, but Indiana, Golden State, and the Clippers, the Kings weren't that far behind them all season long.
Right.
It's just now without De'Aaron Fox, do you feel like they're still in that group, or do you feel like they've just lost their direction and we don't know where they're going at this point?
All they want, because there's no plan after getting to the playoffs, right? They're not even really planning on winning in the playoffs. They're just planning on getting to the playoffs. That's the thing. The Kings are not even looking at winning in the playoffs. All they're looking at is getting to the playoffs. That's it.
I mean, couldn't you say the same thing for Golden State at this point?
Well, no. Because every time Golden State gets in the playoffs, they believe they can make a deep run. And they're still in a position financially where they expect a deep run. The Kings don't.
So I guess to back up that point, Chicago, Miami, and Philadelphia all made moves, kind of felt like selling, but also they didn't sell completely.
Right.
So I guess that kind of is the territory that the Sacramento Kings find themselves in, is where are we going? What are we doing here? And if it's just fight to make the playoffs this year and figure it out, awesome. But yeah, I guess you and I are probably in the same direction. They're in the tier of Phoenix and Philadelphia and Chicago and Miami, which doesn't make me feel great for their chances to even get to the 8th seed.
No. And they're going to need some help, and they're going to have to help themselves as well. Well, De'Aaron helped himself, and Rich Paul is speaking out about everything that happened into orchestrating the move to San Antonio. We have those quotes for you on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now, during our President's Day sales event, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Save thousands with low APR financing and great lease rates on over 500 new Hondas at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Chris Biderman joins us in 15 minutes. 916 says, so the purgatory tier. Yeah, that's right, 916. Just purgatory. That's what we need. Thank you, 916. We just need a purgatory tier with the Kings, I almost said the Falcons. The Hawks. Their Hawks are in purgatory until they move Trae Young. And then they'll have a direction. They have no direction right now.
I put them in the young teams making the first playoff run category.
No. Well, that's not it. That's not who they are. Not with Trae Young. So who else is in the purgatory tier? I like this 916.
Chicago.
Yes. Until they move Vucevic and Patrick Williams and Kobe White, yes, they are in purgatory.
Until they get they decided we can't tank because we don't have our draft picks, so we're just gonna stay in purgatory.
Yeah. So we got Sacramento. I like Chicago. I'll put. I think the Hawks should be there too. Who else needs to be there?
I'm still going to nominate the 76ers because the 76ers are what I call the zombie 76ers at this point, where they've got one star on the back end of his prime in Joel Embiid. They've got Paul George, who's past his prime but still a very good player. They've got Tyrese Maxey, who's entering his prime.
Yeah.
And they've got Jared McCain, a rookie. So they're just like, forget timelines. We're just throwing people out there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a different way of saying lost their direction. But yes, these purgatory teams, there are a bunch of them. And that is exactly where I would put the Kings. The Joseph Kong, again, just real quick, this just caught my eye. Joseph Kong on the SAG chat, again, piqued my interest because he says, let's see where Fox takes the Spurs now. Ha, ha, ha. Are Kings fans, are y'all just getting your jokes off now because you know the Spurs are probably going to be really good for the next decade? And again, I don't even think that De'Aaron Fox will be the second option when they're actually really good. But this move was not for this season. But get your jokes off now. I'm not hating.
Isn't the wound just still fresh? Also, like it only happened 2 weeks ago.
But what I'm saying is they're 4.5 games back of the 10 seed. They weren't doing anything anyway. It's not like they were in the group, right? They were in the group with the Suns, the Kings, the Warriors, not with them. And now De'Aaron's got to do it with Jeremy Sohan and the crew. They weren't even in the conversation anyway.
Yes, you are correct, which is why the people who are taking the proverbial victory laps are kind of showing their true colors a little bit.
And I don't mind. I'm just saying it's just funny because they weren't playing well. They were just playing
all 1 point games and 1 score games. If they had won, if the Fox 3-pointer that he hit at the buzzer had counted and it hadn't been late, I'm so glad it was late. By the way. And they won that. I think it was Orlando was the other one they lost. If they had won both of those, I think they would be 2.5 games out of the 10 seed, and then you'd feel like they have a chance. But 4.5 games out, forget it.
Right. I guess at the very least, to the fans out there kind of victory lap, and you're still playing with Victor Wembanyama. It's still fun basketball to play with an alien, and now he is playing with Bismack Biyombo. All right, speaking of De'Aaron, this is from Rich Paul, and he sat down with Gilbert Arenas, which is just so much Sacramento hate in one setting. I can't even deal with it, really.
At least Rich Paul was willing to come to Sacramento.
That's true. And did he even step on the floor? You know, those the things that you wear on your shoes when you have to step into a new house, or some people do it in a hospital. Did he wear those when he walked all throughout Sacramento? I mean, give me a break. This is what Rich Paul said. In De'Aaron's case, he had spent 8 years in Sacramento. Rich Paul said it was pretty good, but it was time for a change. And I personally wanted to place him next to Wemby to grow. And he thought that made a lot of sense too. It's his choice, but that's where he wanted to be. And I was blessed enough and able enough to make that happen. What a random quote to me.
He was choosing his words so carefully.
I mean, I wanted to put him next to Wemby, but he's also from Texas. He's also, the San Antonio era. Whether they were building a house, or they weren't building a house, they have a ton of connections there. But to me, it just feels like Rich Paul kind of scratching his own back. If you were asking me who came up with the San Antonio idea first, I think it was probably De'Aaron, but I think Rich Paul is trying to sound like that dude. That's what I think.
I don't know what to make of it. I think it semantic-wise doesn't matter, because if De'Aaron had wanted to go to Orlando or wanted to go to Houston, like some people in his camp wanted, I'm sure he would have gone to Orlando or Houston.
Maybe Rich Paul swayed him versus the other teams that could have been interested.
Yeah, he wanted, I mean, the reporting was clear the whole way. He wanted either Sacramento or San Antonio. And when Sacramento was no longer going to be an option because the Kings were trying to trade him, that's when it became San Antonio. And there were other teams that might have been interested, but he wanted San Antonio. He was always going to want San Antonio.
That's why I don't think it was Rich Paul, because the idea of them, Rich Paul deals with a lot of clients. The idea that it wasn't a group, the idea that it was De'Aaron saying, hey, it's San Antonio or bust, makes me think, I don't think that Rich Paul swayed him to a point where, you see what I'm saying? I don't think Rich Paul swayed him to a point where it was, thank you, Rich Paul, I will only go to San Antonio. I think De'Aaron was maybe working through some things. It was always San Antonio in the mix. They had a conversation, and then De'Aaron says, actually, yeah, this is the only place we want to go.
And I think the only reason this is a story, because I think this was like a 45-minute podcast. And This is the only quote that was noticeable at all. I think the only reason this is a story is because there had been backdoor, conversations around the league, like, hey, when it was looking like the Hawks might not commit to Trae Young, Rich Paul, his agent, was kind of steering him to San Antonio, or Darius Garland with the Cavs, he was kind of whispering of San Antonio. And there's been this backdoor whisper that Rich Paul wants to position himself to be Wemby's agent when Wemby gets to the big dollars. And I think that's why this is a story, is like the reason what incentive does Rich Paul have to curtail to Wemby, not a clutch client, in a city that is not considered a major market? And so I think that's the only reason this is kind of a story, is that there's been backdoor whispers that Rich Paul is trying to do some I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine stuff with Wemby, so that when Wemby does get to the big money contracts or big money endorsements, he might be more willing to switch over to clutch.
Sam Amick, speaking of Victor Wembanyama, Sam Amick said this about an hour ago. Per source, Victor Wembanyama had experienced low energy lately that was causing concern. When he still had low energy at All-Star Weekend and through his 2-day vacation after it, the test began that ultimately uncovered the deep vein thrombosis. The Spurs are very confident he'll be healthy and ready at the start of next season. If you're just now joining us, Victor Wembanyama will not be joining the Spurs for the rest of the season. He is out with that deep vein thrombosis, also known as a blood clot. That broke at the end of the Carmichael Dave show with Jason Ross and at the beginning of our show. So that led us into this De'Aaron Fox conversation as, look who's the number one option again. Have fun, buddy. On the other side, Chris Biderman of the Sacramento Bee joins us to talk about the next steps for your Sacramento Kings. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center for your Thursday. Looking at some areas of patchy fog for the morning commute. A cool start as we head through the afternoon. We're looking at mostly sunny skies with a bit of a north breeze. Temperatures up this afternoon. Highs peaking in the upper 60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Elk Grove Honda reports that Honda has earned 3 coveted 2025 Car and Driver 10 Best Awards for the 3rd year in a row, honoring Honda Civic, Accord, and CRV. We're Elk Grove Honda in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, save 50% on the new Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-235-5588. That's 800-235-5588. 800-235-5588.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends over at Jiffy Lube, and they want to show some customer love this month with their February oil change deals you can find online today. Visit jiffylube.com and find a service center near you to see these sweetheart deals, get it, during the month of February. Here's what you do. Drive into savings at jiffylube.com today and let yourself save in the month of February. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
High voltage live boxing action returns to the venue on March 8th as Uppercut Promotions presents Thunder Showdown 2 with 8 big fights on the bill featuring top-level veterans and the best in up-and-coming new names. Scheduled fighters include names like cruiserweights Blake McKernan and Sean Miller. It's a night of great boxing action you won't want to miss. It's Thunder Showdown 2 coming March 8th to the venue at the Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Fight cards subject to change. See Thunder Valley website for scheduled lineup. Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPfest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with the California Army National Guard. Find out more at CITPfest.com.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery from the law firm of Gingery, Hammer & Associates. When you have been injured by the fault of another, you will want advice you can trust. If you know an attorney you can trust, I hope you call that person. But if you don't, please call me. I promise I will be the attorney you can trust, along with my entire team. I have been helping accident survivors recover compensation for their injuries for 25 years, and we can help you. There is no charge for calling. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
There's nothing quite as serene and beautiful as our Sacramento rivers. It's something we can all take pride in. But just one piece of litter can ruin the picture. I'm Allen Stiles from Sacktown Sports. Let's work together to keep our community beautiful and make Sacramento litter-free. Clean rivers don't just mean beauty. They mean healthy fish, safe swimming, and a vibrant ecosystem. So remember, be river-friendly. Every little action makes a huge impact. Visit BeRiverFriendly.net now to be a part of the difference.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Mita Chevy saves you $10,250 off MSRP on new 2025 half-ton Silverado LT after rebate. $10,250 off new Silverado at MetaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details. Best owned 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports. Taking you up to 2 p.m. Well, they have my name now, thanks to Kyle. They're saying my name now, so I don't have to say that. I just have to get used to not having to say that anymore. Thank you, Kyle. Kyle whipped that up for me. I appreciate it. And Chris Biderman now joins us of the Sac Bee. Chris, thanks for joining us, man. How you been? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, man.
Yeah, the flu's been going around. I missed a couple Kings games because of it. But you know, we're back on the horse. We're feeling better. We're back in it. We're ready for spring, ready for the stretch run of the NBA season. So happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Golf soon. I mean, I heard you're pretty nasty, but you know, you can teach me a thing or two.
Nasty, and I guess is at playing at my best as an 8 handicap. I think there are a number of definitions for nasty, but I'll take it.
Okay. All right. Well, I know some people at some parks around here at some courses, so don't worry. I'll have my people call your people.
Throw your weight around, man. I'm down.
That's right. 2025. I'm that guy now. I'm that guy. Chris Biderman is always that guy. Chris, the question is, do the Kings have enough guys to make a run at this thing? Just very, very simple. What are your expectations for the Kings for, the second part? I know it's not halfway through, but the second half of the season.
Yeah, my expectations, particularly with the Victor Wembanyama news today, is that they are probably a play-in team and that it would be a great development for them if they could sneak into the 6th seed. But I think they're a play-in team, and frankly, like looking at the 6 games since Zach LaVine's been inserted into the lineup, it hasn't been very good, frankly. Like they've had 3 games against the New Orleans Pelicans, who have the worst record in the Western Conference. And I think the Kings are 19th in the NBA in net rating over that time. The win over Dallas, while it was impressive to see DeMar DeRozan score 40 points and then pull that out, that Dallas team lost all of their bigs. The Kings still turned the ball over 21 times. I just have a lot of questions about not the individual talent, because if you look at the individual talent of the team, you would say this is a pretty talented roster. I just don't know how well everything fits right now. I think Malik Monk is an excellent six man off the bench. I think he's a pretty good starting shooting guard. He's never been a starting point guard before, and I have serious questions about how he can organize an offense that doesn't really have many distributors as it is. I think Keon Ellis is obviously somebody who needs to play, but he plays the same position as the guy you just traded for and are paying a lot of money to in Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're taking a future Hall of Famer / one of the best clutch players in the league, DeMar DeRozan, off the floor. I know the numbers are good. I saw your guy Brandon Nunez tweet out or retweet somebody today who said the Keon Ellis, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis lineup is like plus 15 or something in 9 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a really small sample, and I have the same questions like, is there anybody who's really initiating the offense in that lineup if that sample size grows? So the Kings are going to be able to score. I just have I have a lot of doubts about their ability to defend. And for that reason, until they show otherwise, I have a hard time believing that they're a playoff team right now.
Well, it's interesting because trade deadlines, obviously, everybody is working with the same deadline. We're talking to Chris Biderman of the Sacramento Bee. Everybody is working with the same deadlines, and you decide to make certain moves. Now, we've seen some huge moves made with Luka Doncic and, De'Aaron Fox. That move with the Spurs, that was more so for the future. If you look at the Mavs and what they did last season, you added supplemental pieces to what you already had. So you're not changing the whole face of your team to try to make some type of run in a couple months. So my question to you, as we sit here and we say, hey, 6 games is a small sample size, we know, because we've had conversations, off the record about what this team is actually trying to accomplish. They really want to make the playoffs this season. So because of that timeline is a little bit different. So my question to you is, how much time is enough? We know what this team is going to be. It's been 6 games and we can say that's early. When is it no longer early?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting late early.
Right,
I would say, right? Like to make that move late in the season. And look, I understand the players are in a difficult position, right? Like they're adjusting to a new coach. They're adjusting to basically a completely new core. They have added depth in Jake LaRavia, which has been helpful to them.
He needs more time. He needs more time out there. I think so.
But that's a decision the Kings made. Like you make a coaching change mid-season and you trade De'Aaron Fox midway through the season. Like, yeah, you're putting the players in a really tough spot. So I have a hard time using like the lack of cohesion, the lack of practice time, all of that as an excuse for this team, because these are decisions that the team made. And whether or not you want to you could quibble about, well, was this a Monty McNair decision? Is this a Vivek Ranadive series of decisions? I think those are discussions to be had. But the point is the Kings made these decisions to make all these changes midway through the season with an emphasis on trying to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that just raises your level of difficulty, I think, given how crowded the Western Conference is. So, like, I think I just have a hard time. Like, if it were me, if I'm running the team and just to editorialize, and I have to trade De'Aaron Fox, which I still don't think the Kings had to trade De'Aaron Fox. I think they could have waited until the offseason and still made a push. But if it's me and I'm trading a franchise player, I don't really see the point in racing to the middle, right? Like, throughout the NBA, there seem to be two directions that competent organizations want to go to. They either want to contend and do everything they can to make a run at the conference finals or the finals, or they want to race to the bottom to accumulate as many draft assets as possible and draft their potentially next face of the franchise, right? And the Kings, I guess they really want to make the playoffs, but they seem to be racing to the middle towards that purgatory area where the vast majority of the NBA wants to avoid.
Yeah.
And you have an aging roster. You're built around DeMar DeRozan, who's 35, in his mid-30s. You have Zach LaVine, who's probably on the back nine of his career more so than the front. And like you did get a little bit older with the De'Aaron Fox trade. If it were me making those decisions, I would have said, okay, even if you do make the playoffs, you're probably losing to OKC or Memphis in the first round. I would have rather taken the draft picks and then try to draft the next De'Aaron Fox than race to the middle to potentially get, a handful of playoff games at home and be a first round exit. But that's just me editorializing. I understand why the Kings might have, they have their reasons, obviously, to want to make the playoffs. The team's history suggests that, making the playoffs obviously is really rare and hard to do for them. So I get it, but it's not the route that I would have gone.
Chris Biderman just let it sing right there. That was great stuff, Chris. I just got to say, that was great stuff. Talking to Chris Biderman of the Sacramento Bee. With all that being said, Chris, what do you think is the timeline? So I have named this team the interim beam team. We don't know how long any of these dudes are going to be on the team. What is the timeline you would give the interim beam team? Do you think that if they don't make the playoffs, and I guess it's just any move, right? Anybody from the starting lineup, let's say it that way. So if they don't make the playoffs, just because we know if they make the playoffs, they're running it back. Even if they get swept, if they find a way in the playoffs, they are running it back. Let's say they don't make the playoffs. What do you think the timeline is? Do they start looking to move a DeMar DeRozan? Do they see, hey, is Zach LaVine's 3-point percentage comes back to life? Do they see if anybody is out there? If they don't make the playoffs, what do you think the timeline is on this interim beam team?
I kind of think if they don't make the playoffs, and this is just me speculating. I want to be clear about that. But if I think it might be a clean house situation. I think it might be, they might be looking for a new GM. They might be looking for a new head coach, right? It seems pretty clear that internally the mandate is make the playoffs. And if
Doug Christie,
I don't know. I think, Vivek Ranadive has shown, or at least the Kings have shown under Vivek to have a pretty quick trigger finger.
Yeah.
So with all the expectations and all the moving parts this year, if they don't make the playoffs after all these decisions were made, I would lean towards, and again, me speculating, I would lean towards there being massive organizational changes. And if you're DeMar DeRozan and you're playing the last, couple years of your career,
right,
do you want to be part of that? It wouldn't surprise me if DeMar DeRozan did end up getting moved if they didn't make the playoffs. But if they did, I could see DeMar wanting to come back. He's, obviously close to LA. The Kings being in the mix, him being a focal point. Like I do think that would be appealing to him. But if they don't make the playoffs, I mean, one of the last things De'Aaron Fox said to me, I was covering the Kings in Philadelphia right before the trade happened. One of the last things he said was, it's Sacramento, like that it's constantly changing, like that you always see changes. So, given what the expectations were this season, given all the changes that we've seen this season, if they don't make the playoffs, I have no reason to believe there wouldn't be more drastic changes in this offseason.
In the business world, we call that high turnover rate. You would say the Kings have a very high turnover rate. Chris Biderman, Outstanding stuff, man. Look, I don't know I know you said you had the flu, but you're back better than ever. I don't know if I was just watching the new Captain America. I don't know if you got the super serum or something like that, but you're on fire right now. Be sure to follow Chris Biderman on social media. Be sure to find all of his great pieces and articles on the Sacramento Bee. Go check that out. Chris, thank you so much.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
On the other side, as Chris has a conversation, or we just had a conversation with Chris about whether or not the Kings should try to get to the playoffs and being stuck in a bit of that purgatory, we have the conversation, what is the job of an owner, right? What is the job of an owner? Is the job to just get to the playoffs and be entertaining, or do you have to want to win a championship? We hear from what the Milwaukee Brewers owner had to say on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown Sports.
Oh my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey Sacramento, it's Malik Monk and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Is your garage door stuck in the winter blues? Well, February is the perfect time to give it some love. Jason Ross here to tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. And they're here to keep your garage door running smoothly. This February, they're spreading the love with their Sweetheart Special, $150 off a garage door with the purchase of a garage door opener. Now, the experts at Overhead Door Company of Sacramento provide fast, reliable service that's always on time and always done right. From squeaky hinges to full door replacements, they've got you covered. So don't let your garage door be the heartbreaker this season. Visit overheaddoorofsacramento.com for your free estimate. You can get in touch with them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, opening doors to your home and your hearts this February and all throughout the year. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
For 70 years, we've been known as the Humane Society of the United States. But as the challenges animals face have grown, so have we. We are now called Humane World for Animals. And if you love animals, you're part of our world. Humane World for Animals. The end of animal cruelty.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx saved you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx users are compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, Kings fans, join us for a watch party and live game night broadcast with Scott Marsh and Henry Turner at Tom's Watch Bar this Friday from 5 to 7 against Golden State. Enjoy 360-degree viewing, surround sound, prizes, and more. Tom's Watch Bar.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Can we hire this guy as the GM, please, God? I think he said it perfectly when he pointed out how competent teams would react. Go for the championship or go for the bottom. I don't see how this is such a mystery to this organization. That's from Pool Guy Mark. Don't mean to sound negative, but just seems obvious from Pool Guy Mark, talking about Chris Biderman that will be up on YouTube in a very, very short period of time. If you missed that, because yeah, Chris, as the kids say, Chris let the chopper sing on that one. That was great stuff from Chris Biderman, and I couldn't have said it better myself, the way he just illustrated what teams do. Now, it doesn't mean you still have to get it right. I look at the Atlanta Hawks, and they did the purgatory thing. They're kind of not in purgatory. They've drafted pretty well, and they haven't been able to get over the hump, so it's not easy.
They also won the lottery in the 1 year you didn't want to win the lottery.
Yeah, and they're trying, but it is, I just keep reminding people that it is not all OKC's and Houston's, right? It is not all OKC's and Houston's, but at least you give yourself a chance, because we do know the other side of it. 916, I just pray that somebody buys this team and keeps it in Sacramento. Let's pull the Band-Aid off completely and just admit that we have one of the worst owners in basketball. I pray that things are different going forward, but I just don't see it based on their past and present decisions. Yeah, and look, man, I'm going to be honest here. A lot of people being the flagship, a lot of people, I see stuff that I don't read all the time, whether it's on the Sac chat, whether it's on the text line, and a lot of people are saying, you're afraid to talk about the owner. And I know I'm not the only one. You know, I know that the morning show gets it. I know that the afternoon show gets it too. And there's obviously a level of respect that we're going to give everyone, and that's just me in general throughout my whole life, you know, whether it's professional or personal. I don't think that he is one of the worst owners in the NBA. I think that the problem that you deal with is what you want out of something, right? And I'm not going to say complacency, because I don't think that they're complacent, because I don't think they've gotten to the place that they would be complacent with. If I do believe that an issue could be that if you were how we joke about the Clippers and you're just a 5 seed every single season, I do believe that they would be very happy with that. And I don't know that they would, I don't know if they would be inclined to go the extra mile to be a 3 seed now or a 2 seed or really get into that contending situation, because the other side of it is, well, the Mavs just went to the finals as a 5 seed, right? So I think this thing is very, very, it's very layered, right? And it's very delicate, if you will. But I hear what a lot of you are saying, right? And I get it. So talking about how we got here and continuing on this conversation. So Mark Attanasio, who owns the Brewers, he is facing a lot of backlash for what he said in an interview. And he answered a question saying, is my job to win a World Series, or is my job to provide a summer of entertainment and passion and a way for families to come together? Now, I think what's happening there is ... and I'm making money, because these dudes didn't become owners of teams based on not focusing their goals of making money. And that's the issue that baseball has, where it's with no salary floor, you can make sure that you're always making money because you're not paying anybody anything. And, you know, the percentages from the revenue that you're making towards the salary, the percentage that you're using on salaries, and those things are a bit wonky. The argument is, well, the Dodgers make a lot of money so they can spend a lot of money, not to get into all those, the nooks and crannies of it. But, you know, to answer that initial question, I think what he's leaving out, and I think people would say, hey, you know, we're not stupid, and don't treat us like we are as such. We know you're still trying to make money. But I think he would retort and say, yeah, I am making money, but I'm still providing a summer of entertainment and passion and a way for families to come together. So I thought it was really interesting, and I teased on the morning show that a lot of people probably wouldn't like my answer to this. And Whitey and Jay did a great job talking about this yesterday on the drive, guys. I was listening to it on my way to Sky River. But, I'm struggling with this because there are no rules. And when you get to a point where you have a chance, how much should you argue, well, you're not giving us a good enough chance? And if you don't think it's a good enough chance, I understand you want to represent where you live, but you can be a fan of any team, and you can choose to be a fan of a team that does give you a chance. So what I'm struggling with is the level of what an owner deserves or has to give their fan base as a chance, right? I would say you can do both in a way. It's just if you're doing both well enough. The Milwaukee Brewers have had some good teams. The Milwaukee Brewers have just not performed in the playoffs. Is that because they haven't paid enough, or if they just haven't performed, coming from a world where you have the Giants, who for years, now they were paying guys, but not to the Dodgers level. They hit on Bruce Bochy as a Hall of Fame coach. They hit on some draft picks and with Buster Posey, some homegrown talent, and they won when nobody expected them to win. So the Giants didn't go and the Giants didn't care. Did the Giants care more than the Brewers have these last couple years, where you could argue the Brewers could have made Giants type of runs where, sure, I could see it. I didn't have the Brewers picked, but they're a good enough team.
Yeah, the Brewers, unlike some other franchises, are weird to hear this coming. Because, if you hear this from the Pirates, or you hear this from one of these teams that just doesn't, care and doesn't care to show, the A's just don't care to show that they don't care. The Brewers have made the playoffs 6 of the last 7 years. And I'm doing the math real quick here, in 5 of those years, they lost to the team who eventually went on to win the National League or win the World Series. So it's not like, if they had done this. No, they lost to the Dodgers, they lost to the Nationals, Dodgers, Braves, Diamondback. It happened. They lose to teams that are better than them. Maybe you could argue they get that extra point. But what's weird about the Brewers is it's their general manager, who's won Executive of the Year, they wouldn't renew his contract once he became too expensive. Craig Counsell, they wouldn't renew his contract once the Cubs came and offered him a new deal. You could go down the line with players. It's their problem is they win and they replace talent, but they also don't care to keep the people who are responsible for that, even in a place of power. And that's where it starts to feel cheap. You can win without spending money, but that can't last forever, because then you'll just succumb to the fates of professional sports.
But then it becomes, again, hey, well, again, you trust, if you're a Brewers fan, you trust that, hey, we're always in the mix, and maybe one of these days we will figure it out. Now, enough with the Brewers. Then last season, they were 93-69. Is that correct?
Yeah, they won 93 games.
They won 93 games, and then they didn't win in the playoffs, right? So, hey, we don't care, blah, 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 blah. But I'm sure their fan base enjoys this part of it. Now, enough with the Brewers. Let's take it to the Kings now. And when you think about the Kings, especially with the past that the Kings have of being a pariah in the NBA world, and nobody thinking about them, and them just being a complete disaster, Mr. Vivek comes along, keeps the team from going from leaving Sacramento. And hey, look, man, thanks to the play-in, honestly, but we got the play-in involved. We're a pretty darn good team. We're competitive. Is it perfect? No, but you got your beam. Everybody is enjoying their time. Are we perfect? Are we ever going to win one? I don't know. Maybe, but hey, based on what you guys had, and I've used the relationship comparison before, based on what you guys had, what's the problem, right? Do I owe you spending more of my money to still not necessarily buy? You can't buy a championship. Look at the Clippers. They spent all this money, nothing to show for it. We've talked about these teams that have spent a ton of money. So if I'm Mr. Vivek here, and I'm thinking, I'm giving you guys a pretty darn good product. Now, how we go about things and how they are perceived, not great. But to, I believe it was Jeff on the text line about, the purgatory conversation, if it's his prerogative to say, look, man, I feel like we're doing a good enough job. You never know. We could get hot like we did Beam Team season. And if it's not for the best shooter ever, we might have one. So what is actually the issue here? Now, similar to the Brewers, they've since blown up that thing in 2 years, and we'll see what happens next. But we're watching games. They're not at the bottom. I know we got to get to the other side. Let's continue that conversation. Let's open up the phone lines. 916-339-1140. Am I being the company man here too much? Or do you see where I'm coming from? When I'm looking at how people are talking about Atanasio and how these are the worst words an owner could say, I'm thinking, are they? Really? I mean, not coming from him. If it was the A's, maybe, because they haven't been entertaining, but coming from him, they won 93 games last season. What's an owner's job?
They have not had a losing season since 2016.
They haven't had a parade, but they haven't had a losing season since 2016. All right, let's continue the conversation. We open up the phone lines, 916-339-1140, as we fly into the 12 o'clock hour. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
All the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body?
Huh?
That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Cheer on the Sacramento Kings in the stretch run of the season. Now through February 21st, enjoy no fees on Kings tickets for all upcoming games, including matchups against the Warriors, Spurs, Cavaliers, and Celtics. That's right, no fees, just savings. Catch the Beam Team with new addition, two-time All-Star Zach LaVine, and experience the thrill of Kings basketball at Golden One Center. Seats are going fast. Don't wait to get your tickets with no fees. Visit kings.com/no fees to grab your tickets today.
This 49er injury report is brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there. After an injury-plagued 2024 season, which ended 6-11 and out of the playoffs, the 49ers will focus on getting healthy in the offseason. Running backs Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, and Isaac Guerrero all suffered season-ending injuries. Left tackle Trent Williams' ankle kept him out late in the year, and Brock Purdy missed the season finale with a hurt elbow. 49ers hope to enter 2025 with a full roster back intact.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave coming to you from a good friends at American Energy. Look, it's already cold outside. It's only going to get colder. American Energy wants to help you stay warm and make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of the $49 tune-up inspection. Normally $119, $49 right now, and that includes a full safety and duct inspection. And check it out. If your system's over 10 years old, and I'll bet it is, the tune tune-up? Yeah, it's free. It's free from a company that's been in business since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ Better Business Bureau. Check their Yelp, check their Google reviews. Don't take my word for it. Give them a call right now. $50 off your first recommended repair. If you need a new furnace, half off the price of a new unit. Check them out at theaeway.com and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9998 now.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by Malika. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and vocal.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
12 o'clock on the dot. I'm in my drop top, taking up to 2 p.m. And, we're talking about what the requirement or what the duty of an owner should be as the Milwaukee Brewers owner, Attanasio, Mark Attanasio was, getting interviewed, and he said, is my job to win a World Series, or is my job to provide a summer of entertainment and passion and a way for families to come together?
Families to come together at a ballpark that is literally called American Family Field.
There you go. That's where the families are coming together. And he got killed for it. And I'm driving around listening to my guys, Whitey Gleason and Jay Johnson. Not to say they did, but I'm also, reading up on how everybody is reacting to this. And I'm thinking, as long as you hide it, right? The problem is some of these owners don't hide it very well. And I think that if there has been an issue with the Kings, they haven't hid it very well. And they've shown a propensity to want the short-term success versus the longevity. I know this name is almost turning into Voldemort here. So somebody's going to get mad that I'm bringing it up again, but there's really no way to have a conversation without it. Where I'm going is I don't think that very many people would have been. Now, look, we did have the Brown out of towns and some people that were not happy with Mike Brown, but as a whole, based on Mike Brown being the first unanimous coach of the year, being team season, and then getting his new contract, we don't know how the season would have played out. Maybe they're still De'Aaron, maybe they still get help. I know it was ugly. It was ugly, but even if it stayed ugly, I don't think that anybody would, and they move on from Mike Brown, hey, it just isn't working out. I don't know how many Kings fans would have been beating down the door saying we should have fired Mike Brown during the season. I feel like most people, now it depends. We don't know how things would have ended, right? I can say it would have been a positive ending and you keep De'Aaron and you're the 7th seed and you get to the playoffs. I could say that they just continue to stink and the whole team gets fractured and they miss the playoffs. De'Aaron leaves anyway, and now Sabonis is mad as well. So we don't know how it ends, but it doesn't really matter how it ends because ultimately I think everybody would have said, hey, you brought him on. He got to the Beam team. It's been 2 years now. You were in the play-in. We gave you kind of the excuse because Malik Monk got injured and Kevin Huerter got injured and the bench was thin and Harrison Barnes was on the team. But now we gave you DeMar DeRozan. We still didn't get it done. Cool. Let's move forward. Everybody would agree with that. So Mr. Vivek or Monty said it was his decision deciding to move on. I do think they probably had a conversation there. Says to all of us, oh, they don't want to see this. They're doing whatever it takes to get that short-term success. We think that Doug Christie will be a good head coach. And Chris Biderman, if you missed him, he came on at 11:30. That'll be up on YouTube and on the Sacktown Sports app. Chris Biderman says, I don't know what is going to happen to Doug Christie if this thing doesn't go well. He said the last time he talked to De'Aaron, the words that were used from De'Aaron stuff is always changing, right? If it was a business, it would be a company with high turnover. So as much as we talked about Atanasio not holding on to certain pieces, they've still found a way to be successful, and they still held on to the pieces long. It's not the same because it's baseball to basketball, but they've still held on to pieces longer than it would be about, oh, we're not moving forward with Mike Brown at the end of the contract, not necessarily, oh, we're going to cut that contract early. So it's a little different here. So that is why I feel like it feels different with this ownership, because they don't hide it very well. It's very obvious that they are just, as the kids would say, a bit thirsty for that playoff revenue, and that's it. They just don't hide it very well, and other teams hide it better. The 916 says, then hire better front office people. Don't extend Vlade or Luke for 5 horrible years. Vlade set this team back 10 years. Another 916 says, so I do appreciate being on the upper side of mediocre rather than the no-shot type of team. So that's where I'm saying what they're doing isn't that different. It's just how they're doing it is not great, and they're not fooling anyone. And that's the problem.
And basketball is not the same, because basketball has a salary floor and a salary ceiling. So most teams are required to spend within certain parameters anyways, which I think is part of why there's not that many tanking teams anymore. And even the tanking teams still have John Collins making $25 million, or Jordan Clarkson making $18 million, or Jeremy Grant making $30 million, or Fred VanVleet, when the Rockets were tanking, got a $150 million contract in the middle of it. Is that basketball, all the teams are a lot closer together versus a baseball where you can just be playing completely different games. If you're the Marlins, A's, Pittsburgh Pirates on down, versus even a Milwaukee Brewers, or if you go all the way up to the teams like the Dodgers and the Mets and everything else, there's just such a financial discrepancy that it's like you're not even playing the same sport, which I don't think the solution is to put in a salary cap and floor for baseball.
Right.
But it's not apples to apples when you're talking about it in the NBA. In the NBA, you're always going to have names because A, there's only 450 of them, and B, you have to spend at certain thresholds anyways.
Jared Williams says the ownership made the right decision moving on from Fox and Brown. However, they desperately need to learn how to handle media situations better. This affects how the rest of the league views them. You're spot on, Jared. That's the other thing, right? If you are at least handling that stuff better, you don't have ticked off fans. You don't have people like Michael Malone saying that you have no cojones. You don't have stuff like that. So again, you're just not hiding what you're doing very well. And the other
no class, no balls.
And the other part of that is the decision to, again, the retooling thing. We'll see what happens in the off season, but just again, we don't want to see what happens in the blow up space. We're just going to continue to all we want is to get into the playoffs. So we're just going to keep tweaking things until we get here. 916-339-1140. Let's go to Bobby, who wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Bobby? What you got for us?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Hey, you're all making really good points. So it's kind of nice that I can, I don't know. I feel like between what you guys have said and some of the texters as well, I mean, and the annoying thing for fans is, and being at a decent level of management myself for some bigger companies and dealing with tech companies, which Vivek has his background, they've managed it and or communicated it in such an unprofessional manner. And I think fans are like, it is kind of become an embarrassment and or a joke. And it's like, Vivek, just learn from your mistakes. And it's like, we keep making, I feel, the same mistakes in the front office, right? Where it's like, they don't communicate it well. They don't manage it well. It's not managed from the top down well. So it's like, let's just be more buttoned up.
Right.
Or if all that, unified. I don't know what you want to call that, but it's like we reek of unprofessionalism.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Bobby. I like that subtle flex, the management at the tech business level. Hey, shout out Bobby. Get paid tomorrow, Bobby. Thanks for the call. Great stuff there.
At least maybe he will.
Yeah. Great stuff there, Bobby. Yeah. I would say this. Again, it's how you're viewed. And perception and optics, they matter. And you know what? They don't have to matter to you if you're very, very successful, right? If you are, I'll never forget this, right? So I'm at Kenyatta College in Redwood City. That's where I went before I went to Temple University. And the year before, I didn't play very much. You know what I mean? The team, we went 30-5. We got two or three guys go to Pepperdine. One guy got drafted. It was just a team full of studs. So I didn't play very much, but they kind of just did whatever they wanted, you know? And the center, one of the outfielders that was playing instead of me, one of my best friends now, his jersey was always dirty. You know? And as he played, he would show up, jersey not clean, whatever the case is, and nobody said anything. So next season, when I'm the starter now, I pull up and my jersey's dirty. And the coach is saying, Allen, what's up, man? Your jersey's dirty. What are you doing? You know, clean your stuff. Come on now. And I say, well, last season, so-and-so's jersey was dirty. And he said, yeah, but we were 30-5. He hit 350. He could have a dirty jersey. Things are different when you're successful, and things are different when you're winning. Now, I did go on to hit 400, so I did have a higher batting average than him, but the team wasn't as good. So we were held to a different standard. When you're 30-5, top 3 team in the state, nobody cares. If the Kings were at the top of the mountain, if the Kings were doing what OKC was doing, the same way they were handling it. Hey, you're not playing, you're not doing this well, go away. You're fired. Hey, you're not doing this, bye-bye. And we're not doing media, and we're not letting you get whoever you want. We're doing things our way. And you know what? You can bleep it because we're so good. But they're not. So it looks even worse. Because if they were doing that, everybody would say, hey, I mean, I don't really like what they're doing. I don't really like how they're doing it, but they're winning, so what are you going to say? But you can't have that. You can't have that swagger. You can't have that cachet to do whatever you want if you're also not successful in the same way other teams are successful. So that to me is the issue. You want to act like you are the big man on campus, right? And I'm just saying the team as a whole and how they kind of run it. We do things our way, but it looks worse because you don't have enough success to be able to do that. So it's not looked at the same way. More texts. We got calls coming in to continue this conversation. Also, we take a look at the Kings' next 5 games. And I don't know who said that this was easy, but I guess it's not that hard. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Lowe's knows that your deadlines don't change, even when your job does. But with Lowe's Buy Online, Pick Up in Store, we'll help you adjust on the fly. And when you absolutely can't leave the project, we can deliver to your job site as soon as same day. Lowe's knows pros. We help, you save. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
There's only one place where you'll find thousands of top brand vehicles and a friendly staff. Find the perfect ride tailored to fit your budget and save even more when you shop the largest selection of certified and pre-owned vehicles online at RosevilleAutomall.com. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
a worry that a lot of fans have. This is from the 530. Vivek will run the A's like he runs the Kings. I think that's run the Kings like the A's are run, because he doesn't run the A's, at least not right now. But the larger point is, he's cool with John Fisher. He's going to try to be cheap. And I don't think they've had A's type of issues. Now, obviously, the whole relocation thing is a big situation with the A's, but I don't think it's that bad. It's just there is a level, right, that right now it doesn't seem like he's necessarily ready to go to, right? And maybe he'll go there if like one of the other texters said, well, if the GM makes the right moves and you have the correct pulse on the team, yeah, maybe you can get there and figure it out. From the 916, UPS Chris, I feel like Vivek takes advantage of the best fans in the league. We show up and show out every night. Vivek is afraid to spend money and go into the apron ever. He is trying to win the lottery without even buying a lottery ticket. Again, I do feel like the spending could be worse. There are just some, he tried to, he signed Sabonis. They offered De'Aaron. Now, the other things that have happened, but is that a Monty thing? But they did offer De'Aaron. So I definitely don't think it's A's level. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people may feel. There's just a level that if, to end UPS Chris's text, that there's just a level that he has not been willing to go to yet. But some teams do win without going to it, right? You're right, though. Trying to strike gold a little bit. Here's the funny thing about striking gold. And I was just randomly thinking, how much gold is probably left in California? You could tell it was time to pay some bills.
There's probably not a lot.
Yeah, I might find it. But if you talk about striking gold, you would think, well, I'm just going to stink until we find the next. I was going to say Luka, but I don't want to, give anyone PTSD. We're just going to tank until we find the next generational player. You would think that would be if you were trying to take advantage of the best fans in the league who are going to show up no matter what, wouldn't you just tank until you found 5 really good draft picks, right? Obviously, it can't be that obvious, but what they're trying to do, I don't think is take advantage because they've paid more money than they had to. So they're not trying to take advantage. If anything, you would take this opportunity to tank. So because based on, hey, the fans, hey, you are going to show up anyway. 916-339-1140. Got some callers coming in that we want to get to. Let's start with JR. Wants to be part of the combo. What's up, JR? What you got for us?
Fool's gold. That's all that's left.
Are you sure? Are we sure?
No, you got to really do some panhandling up the Soda River or something, brother.
Well, you might find me there.
You were a Cabrillo College. I'm sorry, you were Kenyatta College Colt?
That's right.
Wow. I lived right there on the cross.
Oh,
right
there you go.
There.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, stormed down. And one time I watched a game. They were playing Cabrillo. That's why Cabrillo was in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say there was 8 guys playing in that junior college game that went on to play the MLB, and this is 87-ish. I mean, a while ago. But I remember thinking, damn, there's a good junior college baseball game. And then to find out 3 or 4 years later, 8 guys in that freaking contest were good enough to go on to MLB. So
yeah, I got some names for you from Kenyatta College. Okay,
yes.
Moises Alou, Bob Melvin, now manager of the Giants, and Harold Reynolds as well. Just so you know,
Reynolds.
That's right.
Yes. We got all those guys. So in this game, Jeffries went right out of Sarah to the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember watching him play a couple pickup games at at Kenyatta too.
Mm-hmm.
So you had some talent right there in that friggin' NorCal, Redwood City, San Mateo area.
That's right.
I tell you. But I will tell you real quick on you're true. When you're winning, you get away with stuff,
mm-hmm.
and when you're not, you don't. And that's just I love because I coach sports, and I love when the kids are like, "Why are you so mad this week?" Because we've lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
If you would have won 3 in a row, I'd be a lot more easier on you.
Right.
The reality is you got to win, and then everybody's happier. And it's an image thing, and you need to perform. And then when you are winning, yeah, we could change our tune. We could do things a little different. But right now we're not winning, so you better freaking change your attitude and do things the way we're saying we need to be done.
There you go. Coach JR on the line. Thanks for the call, JR. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Nobody would really be I think there would be some pushback, but when you are an organization with the past of the Sacramento Kings and what you've done the last couple years, which although it's been better, but you're not in a position to kind of treat people and do things the way you've done them. You're under a microscope. Whenever you are not good or you are underperforming, you're under a microscope. These elite teams, if the Celtics, if they want to do whatever they want, they can do it because they're winning. And they might get blowback, but it just wouldn't be exactly the same. 916-339-1140. Let's go to Jaime, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Jaime? What you got for us?
Hey, what did you think about All-Star Weekend? Give me your opinion on that. I mean, I liked it. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they come up with something better. I'm excited for the rest of the season. Man, this season went by super quick with the shows and just all the games and all the drama and stuff. But what do you think our matchups are going to be going forward, on this road trip with our lineup? What do you think? Who do you think is going to be the 7th, 8th man off the bench?
Thanks for the call, Jaime. Well, as far as the All-Star game is concerned, I was in the building on Sunday, and it was fine. It did fill up pretty nice. There were some oohs and ahs. I wasn't in the building on Saturday, but obviously I watched on Saturday. I thought the slam dunk contest was great. I don't know why the three-point contest didn't really have juice, but I do know that, Buddy Hield had a couple moments. Really needed Dame Lillard. I mean, Steph not being in the three-point contest was kind of weird, but it was still his night on Sunday. I think they will. I feel optimistic that this is rock bottom, and I do think that this will lead to the All-Star situation being better. But ultimately, all All-Star weekends aren't good, right? They're not great. They've never been great. I mean, at times they were great, but, times change. We complained about Pro Bowl, so now they do flag football and little games, and nobody watches it, and that's fine. They've just bowed out. It's just, but I will say this: when I looked, and I know they did it in Hawaii, but I don't think they're in Hawaii anymore. I did turn it on to that flag football, and it was packed in there, right? And Chase Center, and you can bet your bottom dollar that the Intuit Dome next season will be packed because it's LA. So
they do it in Vegas every year.
Vegas. So now it's in Vegas for the Pro Bowl because they did Orlando after Hawaii for a year or two. So now they're just go to Vegas. Just go to Vegas. That's great. And Major League Baseball, their All-Star. I mean, people complain about the home run derby, right? And it's timed, or it's not enough outs, whatever it is. So All-Star will be All-Star, but I do think next season I have hope. I don't know about the slam dunk contest, but because I think they're all just kind of talking, but I do think that as a whole, it will be better next season. 916 says that Vivek runs the Kings like a liquor store, high prices for cheap bleep products. I don't think. Now, I know prices did go up, but it's not. It's a very competitive Western Conference.
Hey, you read the comment. You respond.
It's a very, very tough Western Conference. I'm not saying that you're completely wrong, 916, but, when they raised those prices, they thought that they would be better. I mean, think about it. They could have been the 6th seed last season. The problem is the Grizzlies and the Rockets came out of nowhere, and we knew someone was going to come out of nowhere next season. We just didn't know who, and we didn't know it would be 2. We knew that maybe the Grizzlies might return or something like that. We didn't know the Grizz, and a lot of people had the Suns slotted to be a playoff team. But you can't look at this, not that it completely makes sense, but you can't look at the team with DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk. Now the bench is the bench, and is that Monty or is that Vivek? I don't know. But you can't say it's bleepy products. You can't say that. 209. says the people focusing on Vivek being the problem are entirely off base. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but at the end of the day, the responsibility for losing rests on the players. And I would say we can take it higher than that and say the construction of the team and things like that. So if you want to say, hey, he's the boss ultimately, so he's going to get blamed, that's fine. But yeah, Vivek didn't foul Jay Nivey, who's out of his walking boot, by the way. Vivek didn't foul Jay Nivey, right? He's not out there. You cannot tell me this roster, you didn't feel better about this roster. We can't call them bleepy products compared to some of the actual bleepy products in the NBA. Great combo. Let's move forward to the next 5 games for the Sacramento Kings. And boy, it could be a doozy. Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the Roseville Auto Mall.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. For your Thursday, we're starting out plenty of sunshine, and we're feeling that north breeze. North winds expected about 5 to 15 this afternoon. Temperatures will feel a bit warmer as highs will peak in the upper 60s. Expect overnight lows into the 30s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
There's only one place where you'll find thousands of top brand vehicles and a friendly staff. Find the perfect ride tailored to fit your budget and save even more when you shop the largest selection of certified and pre-owned vehicles online at RosevilleAutomall.com. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Something amazing is happening when power outages strike. Teams are powering through them. That's because CDW Solutions architects are building more resilient IT and electrical infrastructures with Schneider Electric. With EcoCare remote monitoring services and 24/7 support, your organization can do more than keep the lights on. Schneider Electric and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Schneider Electric.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with the California Army National Guard. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m. and we have a text here, and I know you're not talking to me like that, but there's a text here, I guess, combating the 209 who said the people focusing on Vivek being the problem are entirely off base. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but at the end of the day, the responsibility for losing rests on the players. The 916 says, and now we have text beef, I guess. I know you're not talking to me. I guess selling those first and second round picks were on the players too. Come on, wake up. Well, 916, I will say that's not on Vivek either. Now, again, if you're blaming Vivek because he hired Monty, sure, but Vivek also didn't make those, so that's still not on Vivek to me.
Yeah, I guess you could say it's trickle down because the parameters were set that you're not going to go over the luxury tax, so therefore Monty decided the best decision was to give up
but
Max and give up on those players they traded or give up on Davion to get under the salary cap.
But we've done the luxury tax question. We've done the conversation before where it's you do not, and we can read off the teams in the luxury tax. How many teams that are in the luxury tax are fighting to get in that's not how you use the luxury tax. Use the luxury tax if you think we can win the whole thing.
Well, you also use the luxury tax to give you more room to make mistakes like the Phoenix Suns.
Right.
I'll play the game with you right now. So I've got the current cap allocations across the league up here right now.
Okay.
How many Western Conference teams that are better record than the Kings right now do you think are spending less than the Kings? And for reference, the Kings are 19th.
That's a good one.
The Kings
That's a good one.
There are currently 11 teams spending less than the Sacramento Kings.
And how many of those teams are ahead of them?
How many Western Conference teams are ahead of them?
Well, funny enough, I know the Warriors are spending a ton, but they're not ahead of the Kings, so it's not the Warriors. The Lakers, the Clippers. One just left my head. The Lakers, the Clippers, there's an obvious one here.
Yes.
Lakers, Clippers, Sun. Oh, no. They're not ahead of the Suns.
Better. How about a team that won a championship 2 years ago?
So the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And that's it?
Oh, you're just talking about better than the Kings?
Well, you said better, but are spending more money, right?
Yes.
Right.
Well,
so it's those three.
So there's 5.
Okay.
Because you forgot Minnesota.
Yeah, I didn't know how much they were spending.
Minnesota was way in the tax, and they traded Carl to slowly get out of the tax. And then the last one I'm trying to remember is Dallas.
Right.
So the 3 teams that are better than the Kings that are spending less than the Kings are Oklahoma City, Memphis, and Houston. So that means by proxy, there have to be 3 teams spending more than the Sacramento Kings that have a worse record than the Sacramento Kings. And that is obviously
Warriors, Suns.
Well, I guess 4 if you count the Warriors. They're technically tied. So
Right.
Warriors, Suns, Pelicans, and surprisingly, Portland.
Yeah. So again, going into the luxury tax, you can do that. But most of those teams, it's either, here's the thing though, and this all comes back, to tie a bow on this, it all comes back to the purgatory conversation, right? If you're not going to spend the luxury tax, then be OKC or be the Rockets. So I do hear everyone on that, right? So either you know what or get off the pot, I think is how some people feel. But then there are a lot of people that just like having a competitive team.
Right, but now we're back to the Brewers conversation, which is you can not spend money and succeed. Tampa Bay has won more American League championships than the Yankees in the last 16 years. You can, but you're also not as smart as Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
So like what happens is these ownership groups that make the argument, we're going to use these teams as an example. It's like, no, you're not Sam Presti. You have to hire Sam Presti in order to be able to do that, or you have to hire the right people and put them in a position to succeed. And oh, by the way, in the case of the Brewers, when they do succeed, they're going to get poached by the Mets, or they're going to get poached by the Cubs, or they're going to get poached by another organization like we thought was going to happen with Masai Ujiri. The Nuggets, the person who built the Denver Nuggets got poached by Minnesota because Denver didn't want to pay. Like, this is what ends up happening. So, yeah, you can make the case you can win without spending money, and it's true, but you either have to be Houston, who was a loser for 5 years and just fell into success, or Oklahoma City, who had a concerted plan of how they were going to get there, or Memphis, who has a 2-time executive of the year running their organization, who just drafted Jalen Wells and Zach Edey the 1 year that they had a bad season.
So, look, great conversation. I think I may have flip-flopped in a way throughout it, but that's just all part of it. And it really just depends on, whose fault it is and what your expectations are. And are you willing to take that chance? There are success stories of tanking. There are some horror stories of tanking and teams that are still trying to figure it out. So,
like Tajon Salam being
that's right.
6th pick in the draft.
That's right. And yeah, look, he's still young. He's still young. All right, let's take a look. And real quick, actually, But we're going to take a look at these next 5 games. But Kyle, you brought up a good point when it comes to now. Let's not forget it is positionless. But Victor Wembanyama, if you're just now joining the show, Victor Wembanyama essentially has a blood clot, a deep vein thrombosis. He's out for the rest of the year. So this Shams initially broke it. Sam Amick adds he had low energy going into the All-Star weekend. When he had low energy after the All-Star weekend, they started some tests and they found the blood clot. The Spurs are confident that he'll be back at the start of next season. So we're wishing him a very speedy recovery. But Kyle, you did the math here, and that now will leave a spot open for All-NBA for somebody.
Yes, because Wemby would have been a lock to be an All-NBA center. Yesterday when we were, or I guess the last 2 days when we were doing our grades, which I think that video's up on YouTube if people want to see, I talked about Sabonis is having the best season of his career, but the big men in the league also made giant leaps like Wemby and Karl Anthony Towns. Well, Wemby's not going to qualify for All-NBA because you can only miss 17 games, and the Spurs still have 22 or 23 left this season. So Wemby's not going to make All-NBA or Defensive Player of the Year or, an all-defense team. Yeah. So one of those big man, I know it's positionless, like you said, but one of those big man spots just opened up for All-NBA, and I would guess this helps Domantas Sabonis' chances if he was already on the borderline before this to maybe make All-NBA.
That's great. That's great news. Unfortunately, they're going to find somebody's skeleton to make All-NBA before Domantas Sabonis. It'll be, Shaq with the Celtics wasn't that bad, actually. If you look at his numbers, he should get this All-NBA, and we've never done this before, but we're going to figure out a way to get Shaq and Phoenix an All-NBA bid. So they'll find somebody else.
Well, where I hold out hope, though, is that this is finally the first time the media actually has a say, and so it's been fan voting has screwed him over. Players have screwed him over. Coaches have screwed him over. At least now I feel like the media has a more nuanced picture of the whole league and everything else, because Anthony Davis now isn't going to probably make All-NBA. He's still got a chance because he's only missed like 10 games so far, so he's still got a shot. But Anthony Davis is now in jeopardy of not making All-NBA. Wemby's not going to make All-NBA. I mean, I'm looking at the bigs, and it's like Jokic is a lock. Giannis is a lock.
But it's positionless, though.
Yeah, but they're going to take a certain number of each, right? That's probably because, honestly, the argument for positionless is more centers should get All-NBA in this equation. But I don't think that that's how people are looking at it. I think positionless means LeBron James and Kevin Durant have a chance of getting All-NBA in ways that they were restricted before. But, I mean, you might take away Anthony Davis. We'll see. You take away Wemby. I assume Karl's going to get it. You take away Embiid. Domas has a pretty good chance.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good chance, and that would be, 3 years straight of All-NBA, which is crazy because, again, I'm not trying to do this, but it is interesting. I know Wemby is going to be an alien, but if you did want to blame the breakup, the Beam team breakup, if you did want to blame that on whether it be Monty or Vivek, whoever it is kind of crazy to say, hey, Sacramento got a 3-time All-NBA player back in Domantas Sabonis, and De'Aaron Fox, a 1-time All-NBA player, and they weren't able to, in a year of, or in the era of the play-in, they weren't able to get into, they got into the playoffs one of those 3 years. I think that's probably a good enough swan song for Monty McNair. Now, Monty McNair could argue, well, I brought Domantas Sabonis here, but yeah, that's one thing, right? It was incomplete, or everything you did after that didn't necessarily get us to the level. It almost makes it worse because you showed us what you're capable of doing, and it wasn't enough to get us over the hump, even with the play-in. All right, we go over, and maybe they do make the playoffs, and everything's hunky-dory because they got into the playoffs. That's it. We don't even need to play that playoff. whatever. We'll just do 4 games. Just give us the playoffs.
One last note here before we go. I just pulled up last year's All-NBA teams to see the 15 players.
Mm-hmm.
My math is correct. That now leaves 4 of them that are either not going to make All-NBA or on the precipice of not playing enough games to make All-NBA now. So 4 people are going to have to jump Domantas Sabonis to take that spot from him.
And hopefully it doesn't happen. But the Kings also got to win games, right? You also got to win games, and that helps. Well, it starts tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors. And we will break down that game and the next 4 games after that on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sacktown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for 3, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Need a little home makeover to get through the last few weeks of winter? Kohl's is having a big sale so you can give your home a reset. Plus, Kohl's Rewards members save an extra 15% on so much to refresh your space, like stylish decor, cozy pillows, convenient storage, and so much more. So hurry to Kohl's to snag your savings before the secret's out. Select styles. Kohl's Rewards 15% off coupon valid through March 2nd. Must be a Kohl's Rewards member. Exclusions apply. Visit a store or Kohl's.com for details.
The huge President's Day sale is on at Maida Chevy, Sacramento's Silverado headquarters. Save $10,250 off MSRP after rebates on new half-ton Silverado LT after rebates with over 50 in stock. And Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $10,250 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
I'm George Washington, and I approved this message. Not available with special financing, leasing, some other offers. 5 to the South, Mustang 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. SubcontractorsUnited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
High voltage live boxing action returns to the venue on March 8th as Uppercut Promotions presents Thunder Showdown 2. With 8 big fights, it's a night of great boxing action you won't want to miss. Thunder Showdown 2, coming March 8th to the venue at Thunder Valley Casino Resorts. Fight card subject to change.
Hey, Kings fans, join us for a watch party and live game night broadcast with Scott Marsh and Henry Turner at Tom's Watch Bar this Friday from 5 to 7 against Golden State. Enjoy 360-degree viewing, surround sound, prizes, and more. Tom's Watch Bar.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Again, I got to get used to that because, like I said, Kyle just cooked up some rejoiners for us.
Allen Stiles.
So I have to stop saying my name.
Allen Stiles.
I got to get used to that. So thank you, Kyle. But
Allen Stiles.
Yeah. You know who's going to give me a hard time about this? It's Whitey Gleason.
Allen Stiles.
Whitey is going to tell me probably on air and off air, because Whitey's, he'll like to do his mentor thing with me. Some of it is, some of it is volunteered. I'm just
Allen Stiles.
I'm just having some fun with Whitey. But yeah, he's going to roast me about this. So I got to stop doing that.
About you saying the Allen Stiles.
Right after. He's going to kill me for that.
We have had jokes about that. I'm glad we're bringing it to air of being like, he said one time, hey, Alan, when you rejoin, try not to say Allen Stiles. And then you did it just instinctively.
Yeah.
And I was howling laughing back here.
But at that point, it was at the very least, it wasn't coming back with Allen Stiles. So now it wasn't double.
Yeah, it was Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
And now it's
Allen Stiles.
That's right. Well,
Allen Stiles.
Can't wait for Whitey to have some fun with that one. All right.
Allen Stiles.
All right, let's take a look at the Kings' next 5 games. And Kyle and I, we are going to give our predictions on what's going to happen. So you start off tomorrow night with the Golden State Warriors. And we know that the Warriors, they're different now. And they've only played, again, a couple games with the Jimmy Butler acquisition, but they've looked good, right? They've looked really good. After that, on Monday, they get the Charlotte Hornets, who, look, man, I know everybody's going to say, well, it's the Hornets, but they beat the Lakers, and Luka didn't look great, still found his way to a double-double, but didn't look great, all right? Then you have the Utah Jazz, who, I mean, they're really done, right? But after that, you have the Houston Rockets and those pesky Dallas Mavericks, who will still be without Anthony Davis. So I will start, Kyle, with the Golden State Warriors. I've said this over and over again. I do not feel good about this game. I think the Warriors may have found something. I don't think they'll get to the 6th seed, but I do think they will get to the second half. I think they're the spoiler. If it wasn't for the Warriors making this acquisition, which we knew they were going to do something, I feel really good about the Kings getting to 7 or 8. Because of the Anthony Davis injury, with the Warriors deciding, I mean, there were conversations in the Bay about just selling the season and basically having Steph with his knee drainage and Draymond with his back. There were conversations that they couldn't make something happen to just get through the season. Hey, my knee, I'm 35, I'm 36 years old. And Draymond, hey, my back is not great. Let's just get to next season. And I was kind of hoping that would happen. Then you would have to just worry. And then you have the Mavericks injury. Well, that's not the case anymore. So you have the Golden State Warriors, who are kind of rolling right now. They beat the Rockets heading into the All-Star break. So you have that whole deal. I think that's a loss. I think the Kings lose tomorrow night. I don't feel good about it. The last time the Kings beat the Warriors, it was Steph and a bunch of and Quentin Post and Guy Santos. Don't feel good about that. Hornets, you kind of just have to beat the Hornets. It's at home. There's just really there's no excuse. I know they just beat the Lakers. Look, you can lose if you want, but again, you're just staring 9 and 10 at the face. The magic number we said is about 17 to get to the 8th seed.
Yeah, and the Hornets don't even have Sacramento Kings killer PJ Washington anymore.
Right,
so.
That's right. So that is that's a game you really need to win. The Jazz at Utah got to win that game. This is where it gets dicey for me. The Rockets, I know it's going to be fun to watch. The last time we faced the Rockets, I got into it with a bunch of Rockets content creator type deals. And that was the whole thing about me calling them, and they behave like an AAU team. They started sliding a bit. They did start sliding a bit, but I still think they're dangerous. And after that, you have the Dallas Mavericks, who, look, you needed a 40-piece from DeMar DeRozan to beat them, and you have to go to Dallas again. So you're doing a kind of a Texas. Maybe you can meet up with De'Aaron at some point. You're doing a Texas tour out there. So right now, I'm looking at 2-1 going into that Rockets game, and I think you probably split those games, so you end at 3-2. I think I'm looking at 3-2, and look, they could easily beat either, win the Rockets and Mavericks game, or just beat the Warriors, who they have owned. It's just a different Warriors team to me, but it's a 3-2. And if you do win on Friday, you're definitely looking at to me 3-2 to easily get to 4-1, or I shouldn't say easily, but with the possibility of getting to 4-1 if if you're able to get it done on Friday. That's what I got for me.
I mean, this is the easiest stretch of the season left for the Sacramento Kings. So this is going to be really tough if they do end up 3-2 or God forbid 2-3 at the end of all of this. Because like we said, they're tied for the second hardest strength of schedule. After this, they'll have 22 games left. 4 or 5 of them are going to be against the big 3, and 6 of them are going to be against the big 5 if you throw in the Denver Nuggets and the Memphis Grizzlies. So they really do need at least 3 of these games. And to your point, I think the Warriors game is going to kind of determine the direction of the season. Not like it's like, oh, make or break on the whole season, but like if they lose that game, you're going to be a game behind the Warriors. Instead, you could be a game ahead of them, and you've locked up the season series, so you're basically 2 games ahead of them. Like this, they really got to get the Warriors one, because like you said, it's after all that talk of you not being afraid of playoff Jimmy, now all of a sudden Jimmy Butler lands on the Warriors.
No, don't do that.
Watch out.
Don't do that.
Here come the Warriors.
I'm not saying I don't think they're going to win the whole thing. I'm saying this Kings team just lost to the Pelicans. Okay, let's keep things relative here. I don't think the Warriors are going to win the whole thing. I'm just saying this Kings team just lost to the Pelicans. And if this game was maybe the 3rd or 4th game after the All-Star break, maybe I'd feel differently. But you're going from not playing. The last time you played, you lost to CJ McCollum and the crew. And now you got to play a Warriors team who ended their All-Star break beating the Rockets with some questionable decisions from Ime Udoka at the end of that game. That's all I'm saying. I'm not afraid of playoff Jimmy for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, and that's fair, but there was nothing the Warriors were going to be able to do to probably get back into that conversation.
Yeah, they're going to go out and do something this offseason, but I'm just saying specifically to try to sneak into the playoffs. The 415, so this Bay Area number, says, boy, you guys are really hyping up Draymond, a 30-plus-year-old team that lacks size. Shaking my head. Just shows how bad the league really is. If we're talking about a team that's in the twilight of their career, being a problem is sad. Yeah, again, it's all relative. I don't think the Warriors are going to beat Oklahoma City, right? I'm not going to hype up them to that degree. Oh, sorry, they have something else to say. I think they are replying to you, Kyle, saying, right, way to call him out, and every other Warrior fan. Everybody is pumping this team up like they're going to do something. Please
don't say that.
Lay off it. You're not in San Francisco anymore, which is funny to me, 415, because you're the one with the San Francisco number. 415 is a San Francisco area code. So, if you want to, cosplay as a 9-win Sixer, we love that in Sacramento, but you're telling me I never lived in San Francisco. That's why I don't have a 415 number. Clearly you did. So I don't know. I don't know what your problem is.
So you know how we were having the state of the NBA. Also, I feel like it's not how bad the state of the league is. It's the state of the Kings.
It's the Kings. Nobody, right. I'm not picking the Warriors over the Thunder. I will say, do I trust the Rockets or the Grizzlies? No, not really.
But would you pick the Warriors over the Lakers?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. And I wouldn't pick them over the Nuggets.
Well, yeah, but those are the creme de la creme. The Nuggets, Thunder, and Grizzlies are the creme de la creme in the Western Conference. Everyone else is kind of just jockeying for position that at the end probably won't matter because they're all fighting for one spot in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So to that part, we were talking about face of the league conversation, and I think to give the Warriors a little bit of credit, I think Joe Lacob's the only person who gets that the NBA is trying to squeeze every dollar out of that old guard before they're gone.
Right.
Because Sam Amico reported that Joe Lacob's grandmaster plan at the deadline was to try and see if he could get Steph, KD, and LeBron to all play for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to ride into the sunset.
Doesn't matter if we win, doesn't matter if we lose, we're gonna make money. Mm-hmm. Squeeze every last dollar out of the old guard while they're still here. The Warriors understood the game that they're playing. If we can't win a championship, squeeze every dollar we can out of the end of this. They still might, by the way, because Kevin Durant said, I'm fine going to the Warriors. I just didn't want to be traded midseason.
Right. Right. And I know we're not talking a lot about the Suns. If the Suns actually figure it out, everyone is kind of screwed. I don't think they will because they haven't, but if they do, that's another team in the mix that you could we will be praying for a 9 seed if the Suns actually figure it out.
So you've seen those memes before of the it's like, who's stopping this team?
Yeah.
The Suns, who's stopping this team is Bradley Beal. The decision to give up, I saw this the other day, to give up 10 picks and Chris Paul for Bradley Beal is the reason why the Phoenix Suns will not be able to compete anymore. That is going to go down as one of the worst trades in NBA, not history, but modern NBA history.
On the other side, Sam Amick gives his outlook on the Kings, so we have that for you. And a little bit later, Rob Manfred had some comments on the A's of Sacramento, formerly Oakland, athletically A's. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And if you've even thought of replacing your old, outdated, inefficient windows, now is the time to take action.
Right now at Bell Brothers, when you buy one window, you'll get the second one for 30% off. That's right. Buy one, get the second one 30% off.
That's real savings, up to $6,000. You have to buy at least 4 windows to qualify, and you can't mix windows and doors. But beyond that, every second window is 30% off.
For example, when you buy 10 windows, you will get 5 windows at 30% off. We also have 0% interest financing available for qualified buyers. Call for details.
To take advantage of our buy one, get one 30% off sale, call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or find us online at theNoSurpriseGuys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with the California Army National Guard. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Hey, what's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. What's happening, Chad, for the President's Day sales event?
Get the presidential treatment and savings with up to $16,000 off MSRP on new 2025 Ram 1500 Crew Cabs. With over 400 new Ram trucks available, your truck is waiting at the Hoblet Ram Truck Center.
$16,000 off MSRP on the new 2025s. That's not what I was expecting.
We aren't trying to sell you last year's leftovers. When you need a good deal on the newest truck, Hoblet needs to be your first stop. Plus, check out the huge selection of certified pre-owned vehicles at the Hoblet Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter with over 220 vehicles available and 40 under $20,000.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HoblettDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
16,000 total net savings on select new 2025 Ram 1500 after 9,000 factory rebates and 7,000 dealer discounts. Rebates include 2,000 Chrysler Capital bonus cash. Must finance through Chrysler. An on-the-job $500 upfit incentive. Must show business ownership and $500 upfit. 5 of this net savings. See dealer for details.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m. One more hour with you. I didn't say it this time. I didn't say it. And we are having a conversation about the next 5 games for your Sacramento Kings, and also a larger conversation about the state of the Kings and what happens if this thing goes south, what happens if this thing goes north, what does the outlook look like for the Kings. And Sam Amick was on the morning show, and he had some things to say about the outlook, and here it is.
You know, they've obviously got talent on the floor, and you have to kind of compartmentalize the discussion about what it all means for the long term. You know what I mean? Like it feels like there is suddenly a shorter runway to what they have built. But, you know, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Malik, these guys, like these are good players. And offense is going to be obviously the strength. Pace is going to be the strength. You know, Doug Christie's done a nice job kind of having an identity with that group. And, you know, we'll see now if any of these new additions end up actually playing a part with Markelle Fultz and whatnot. So, you know, they're intriguing. They are kind of the definition of a like play-in borderline playoff team type of squad. And it is what it is, like where it's now with this franchise, I think back to that kind of calculus of, all right, they went almost 20 years not getting to the postseason. You know, even with all the drama, with some of the dysfunction and the whole De'Aaron Fox situation, like it would matter to get back to the playoffs. And then you kind of take it from there. So we'll see what kind of spirit they have. I think that is where I think Doug is probably going to be a major bonus for them down the stretch, is that, you know, he knows that history, he feels that history, and he's not going to, I think, take, you know, that opportunity lightly. And then the offseason stuff you can figure out down the road and figure out kind of what's the vision here and where is it all going. You know, Doug's going to be pushing really, really hard because obviously he's still got that interim tag and would love to have that job long term.
Great stuff from Sam Amick. By the way, this is a bit of a surprise with the Markelle, and I know we don't know how much Markelle Fultz is going to be a part of the action, but yeah, this is from a couple hours ago, and the Kings have recalled Devin Carter from Stockton. So can I interest you in more? Hey, you listen to the show. Hey, Allen, you said you wanted guards. We got more guards. No, not. Yep. Okay. We'll take it. So he's
but
back.
None of the guards we actually need.
So he's back. I don't know that. I mean, that's really interesting to me because of the Markelle Fultz addition. I just want to, I don't know if they're going to win or lose tomorrow, but there's only so many minutes to go around and they're still playing the starters heavy minutes. It's not enough minutes.
Well, and like we did the experiment on Friday where people were trying to talk about we need more minutes for Keon Ellis or we need more minutes for X player or Y player. When we did the experiment, we still had 26 minutes that people said should be allocated to other people. And like, not everyone's going to be able to get those minutes. So honestly, are we going to see either of them tomorrow?
I don't know. And you know, it's crazy to say, but Devin Carter got his taste of the NBA. I do wonder, and again, this might sound insane, but I'm just saying it because he's already done some things in the NBA. I wonder if Devin, obviously you'd rather be in Sacramento than Stockton, but is there a part of Devin Carter thinking, I kind of want to get some run. I kind of would rather just be in Stockton and play. But the problem is the gap between G League and NBA is pretty large. So maybe it gets to a point where I don't know how much better you're getting. We watched Colby Jones for years destroy in the G League, and we still don't know if he's an NBA player. So maybe just being up with the big league squad helps. I don't know.
It's tough because from what he wants to be on the NBA roster.
But he wants to play.
I feel like a lot of these people as competitors would rather be on the NBA roster because they're 19 years old and they've worked their entire life to be in the NBA and practice with the NBA team too.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
The part that stinks about Stockton is you're not even traveling with the team. You're not practicing with the team.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to be in the NBA. I feel pretty confident based on that man's confidence. I feel pretty confident.
God blessing me with his body.
But from the evaluation standpoint, for me, I don't know what's better for him because I don't know why all of a sudden he's not in the rotation anymore. I don't know if that's injury related and returning to, or whatever they call it, returning to conditioning after your injury.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's hitting a rookie wall. I don't know if it's maybe he's not as good as we thought he was when he was putting up 8 points in the fourth quarter against the Boston Celtics on the road. I don't know. That's what makes it hard for me to know what the best course of action for his. All I'm just working on is the same expectation I had from the beginning when he had the injury, which is he's part of the long-term plan, but don't expect any impact this year. Just be excited if you do get anything. And we did. We got him leading the charge coming back in the fourth quarter against Boston.
Right. That was it. That was it, man. But even in those moments, you're still thinking he's not a point guard. He's a guard, not a point guard. And he'd tell you that. Odyssey Fryer on the Sac Chat says, Carter just seems lost and out of control. Lots of turnovers. He's at least a year away. So that would be my argument. And I think a lot of people understood when Devin was sent to the G League, because the G League can obviously help if you're working on certain things. If you're just out there doing everything you're already good at, and I've talked about this before, when you're, when you're playing pickup and there's nobody after you, you're probably just going to run it back. There's only 10 of you there, 10, 11 of you there. You can work on certain things, right? You can work on certain things. For me, it was my right hand. I'm left-handed. I'm very dominant with my left hand. If there was no line and, we're just all out there working, I'd work on my right hand. If there was a five game wait, you're not going to see me do much with my right hand, So for Devin Carter, and obviously this is the group, and I know some of the G League, the coaching staff and the personnel, some of them are gone now, but this is the same group that got Keon Ellis ready to go. Keon Ellis got himself ready to go, but they were a huge part of that. The one thing, as we've talked about the Kings organization, not negatively, but where they can be better, but they really have been pretty good at developing some of those found money situations. So I trust that him being in the G League, he can work on some of the things. Now, will he ever be a pure point guard? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. But can he get to a point where he's serviceable and the playmaking can get to a level that we kind of need it to get to from a guard perspective? I hope so. So being in the G League is not. It makes sense when you're making it make sense. I treat the G League kind of like junior college. If you go to junior college with a plan, it is one of the smartest things to do. If you don't go to junior college with a plan, you're just there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the G League is. You could just be there. And I don't think that's going to be a worry with the G League with Stockton, because Stockton has proven that they can develop.
But isn't that minor leagues all together? Like, there's people who make careers out of being in AA baseball, or there's people who make careers out of playing in the UFL or XFL or whatever else. So I feel like
indoor.
Oh, Arena League.
What was it? The San Jose SaberCats.
Yeah, like people make careers out of that at that third tier all the time. So I feel like that's just minor league basketball or sports altogether. The part that I don't know, and honestly, I don't think a lot of organizations know, is what is the formula to develop players? Like, why is it that Keon Ellis spends time in the G League and he develops into a strong NBA player, or Grady Dick, when he first got drafted by Toronto, spent like 2/3 of the season in the G League and is now a sixth man on a team that's not great, but we expect he'll be a long-term NBA contributor.
And he's been good. I mean, he's getting better.
So why is it that like Grady Dick at 19 years old or Keon Ellis at 20 years old develops into the player they are versus Scoot Henderson goes to the G League and he's still Scoot Henderson putting up some numbers but doesn't mean anything for Portland, or Reed Shepherd going to the G League, or Tajon Salon going to the G League, and we look at it and we're like, maybe it'll work out, but we don't have that confidence because they're top draft picks that are in the G League right now.
So I have this. Me and my wife, we have, and she's back from Vegas finally. So we did it. We made it through a couple days with Baby Styles. I did have my mom come up yesterday, but we made it through.
I was going to say, you were not with Baby Styles yesterday.
Not last night. Not last night. But we have this joke, and obviously I'm joking because when I was really young, I thought I wanted to be a pediatrician. But now that we have a kid, we have this joke that pediatricians, they're not easy, right? I know their jobs aren't easy, but we have this joke because anytime you ask a pediatrician anything, doesn't matter. Hey, my baby's not sleeping. My baby's doing. All they say is every baby's different. So basically, you get paid. You go to school for however many years. You get paid a lot of money to just tell every parent every baby's different. And I'm saying all this to tell to you that every young player is different and every timeline is different.
So how do we know whether it's better for Devin Carter to go to the G League or be in the NBA?
We don't. Well, in my estimation, I think it's better for him because when I watch him, he needs to play.
But every baby is different, Styles.
Right. But I'm watching him, and if he's just out there rebound, and I haven't watched, I need to watch the G League games, but if he's just out at being the athlete that he is, no, you need to go with a plan. And I'm not trying to downplay what Stockton does because I know they have a plan for him. I'm just not sure how in the world he's going to. Maybe they saw something. I don't know. Maybe they saw something in the G League. I don't know.
And the other thing that's different with Devin Carter versus these other people is Grady Dick was in the G League at 19 years old. Tajon Salon is 19. Reed Shepherd is 19. Devin Carter's already 22. And he's going to turn 23 later this year. Like, he's not a project type. He played 2-3 years. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 years of college basketball.
Yeah.
And is now entering the NBA with the anticipation he would be more of a ready-made prospect.
And let's not forget, he's coming back from injury. The other thing is, if he did take a little mini leap, and that's why you brought him in, then why did you sign Markelle Fultz? You see what I'm saying? Even though I know they're the different type of guard, but again, it's just decisions that.
I just don't think Markelle Fultz is going to get a lot of run. That's just kind of my thought. Also, before we go to break, I'm not saying Odyssey Fryer is a Providence fan, but like, do Providence people have like the notifications turned on every time we mention Devin Carter?
They might.
Because I haven't seen Odyssey Fryer in the chat for months, and then all of a sudden we start talking about Devin Carter, and back comes Odyssey Fryer.
Yeah, I know. This is Dwayne, of course, on the text line. Carter is a straight bust. No, he's not, Dwayne. He's not, at least not yet. 916, Carter is just a bust. They should have taken a 3 or 4. He's not, we can't call him a bust yet.
If he's a bust, then we talked about it last week when we were doing the grades. 9 of the 15 picks between 10 and 25 would be busts.
But this draft was supposed to stink.
Yeah, but I think the thing that sucks is when people go back and see 15, I can't remember the order exactly, but it's like Jared McCain, Dalton Connect, Tristan Da Silva, and someone else were like someone else were like back to back, all forwards that are all producing right away in the NBA.
On the other side, Rob Manfred had some comments on the A's that play in Sacramento used to play in Oakland athletics. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, reminding you that every deal at Folsom Lake Ford is a slam dunk. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, including America's best-selling truck for over 47 years, Ford F-Series, plus a huge selection of Broncos, Bronco Sports, and all of Ford's award-winning SUVs at FolsomLakeFord.com. Listen, I know a great play when I see one. And if you want to save on a new Ford, you got to drive the lane straight to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest financing. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. So hurry to Folsom Lake Ford, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they're my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop them online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sactown Sports.
1:15 on the dot. Trying to call Devin Carter a bust already. Come on, y'all. We ain't doing that. Devin Carter has been recalled. He is back with the Sacramento Kings. A bit surprising. Did not think we would see De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox. We're not going to see De'Aaron Fox. Did not think we would see Devin Carter.
Who's going to play more minutes at Golden One Center the rest of this season? Is it going to be De'Aaron Fox in the one game San Antonio comes to Sacramento, or Devin Carter?
Okay, real quick, and then we'll get to this Rob Manfred sound. Does De'Aaron Fox have to face the music? A lot of people were saying with Victor Wembanyama, if you're just now joining us, Victor Wembanyama out for the season as he has a blood clot and is very serious. A lot of people are trying to figure out how long he'll be out. Okay, San Antonio Spurs is from Shams. Is a deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. He was just very low energy, and as he was low energy, they did some tests. He was low energy after the All-Star break, which kind of means that he was probably playing with this during the All-Star break, which is crazy. And Victor Wembanyama has a form of a blood clot in his right shoulder. He's out for the season. Spurs believe this is an isolated condition. That's from Sham. So they were already 4.5 back of the 10 seed. If you're De'Aaron Fox, some people are saying, well, De'Aaron should go get his finger fixed and just be out as well, and they can tank and try their luck at getting one of these players in a very deep NBA draft. So if you're De'Aaron Fox, I'm not saying it matters as much, and we're so close already. We're 2 weeks away. If you're De'Aaron Fox, would you rather just face the music and get it over with? It's going to, you know what I mean? Everything that happened with the text messages to media members and some of the ways that his story or his narrative has changed. If you're De'Aaron Fox, if you are thinking about getting the finger fixed, would you rather just face the music and go to Sacramento and just get it over with and then fix your finger? Or would you say, you know what? I don't really need that drama. And, you know, he tries to say he doesn't like drama, even though he kind of does stuff that causes drama with the Sabonis thing. With the Instagram situation, would you rather just face the music with your terrible team? Hey, just beat us, whatever. And if we beat you, that'll be even more embarrassing. And I'm going to maybe get booed a little bit, get a lot of cheers, maybe get some boos. I'd rather just deal with it now. Or, you know what? I'm just going to fix my pinky, come in guns blazing, next season with my boy Wemby and embarrass you? What would you do?
Well, I would hope that De'Aaron Fox is going to get cheered overwhelmingly when he arrives.
I know. Stay focused.
Yeah, I know. Because this is my point, though. If he's going to get cheered, there's nothing to face the music on. However, I know that some Sacramento Kings fans are going to be lame, and they're going to boo him, and they're going to do all of that.
You cannot help yourself. Come on.
I mean, if I'm De'Aaron Fox, this is a organizational decision. If the organization,
right?
Like I can't remember if it was Cade Cunningham's first or second season where it was like the organization incentivized Cade Cunningham to get the surgery, which was code word for the organization wanted to tank.
Right.
So go get your surgery. If the Spurs want him to get the surgery, great. Otherwise, just keep playing as long as you feel comfortable playing.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case,
what would you do if they said, "Hey, De'Aaron, it's on you"?
Oh, I'm playing.
I think I'm playing too, but we're playing for different reasons.
Yes, we're playing for different. You're playing because you want to show up Sacramento. I'm playing because I want to just play, and hopefully we'll get the thunderous applause that I deserve for being a jersey retirement player for the Sacramento Kings.
I'm playing because I don't know how it's. I'm playing because I'd rather play with house money, and I'm also playing because De'Aaron's probably thinking, if I know the Kings, we can get them. The weaker we are, the easier we can get them. So if I'm De'Aaron, I'm just getting it over with. And even if the plan, it's 2 weeks from now, even if the plan is, hey, De'Aaron, we're having conversations with Victor out, we ain't making the playoffs. How are you feeling on your finger? I would say, you know what? Let's just get through Sacramento, get it over with, and regardless of what it's going to be, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I'm waiting for the drop.
Sorry, I was slacking there.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Thank you.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Thank you.
I didn't have my soundboard ready.
There you go. So if I'm De'Aaron, I would take care of business in March and then say, all right, thank you so much. I am done. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and I think it depends on how it goes because they're technically not out of the race yet, right? It's 4.5 games. They are also like 28th in the NBA in offensive rating when Wemby isn't on the floor, but they've also not had De'Aaron Fox, who will probably make their offense a little bit better with Wemby not being on the floor, but it's also a hurt De'Aaron Fox, so I don't know, man. If the organization tells you to shut it down, maybe you consider shutting it down. But yeah, the Spurs are probably going to end up with a pick somewhere between 7 and 10 in the draft this year.
Yeah.
They also get the Hawks picks. They might get a second top 20 pick, and who knows what they'll do with it.
To the look, we're not doing this yet. It popped in my head with this Victor Wembanyama news, but the 209 continues to text in. I hate Fox. I'm booing Fox in March. I'm booing. Oh, I'm booing. Oh, I'm booing big time. Thank you, 209.
I also see the multiple people on the text line who are like, Kyle, what do you mean it's lame for fans to boo? And every time I say this, I have to explain. I think booing another adult person is lame.
We know.
I just, every time I say it, someone keeps texting in. So for everyone, it's their first time. For someone, it's their first time.
Yeah.
This is just an across the board stance for me. If you boo another grown adult person, you are lame.
I will say this, and look, I don't police fandom. You want to boo, you boo. You pay your hard-earned money. You keep it between the lines. No, epithets or family stuff. You can boo whoever you want. So that's a Kyle thing. That is not an Allen thing. I think most of the time, the way that you thank someone typically is they get cheered, they play the video, and then when the game starts, you boo them when they touch the ball in the game at the beginning of the game. That's the I think the respectable way to boo someone. You cheer them at the beginning, hey, thank you, and then it's hey, we got to boo you now. But some people will just be booing because of the drama that I talked about as well. Phone lines coming in. One more segment before we get to Crosstalk Call line, text line 916-339-1140. You want to be a part of the conversation. And we will hear from Rob Manfred, his comments on the A's from Sacramento, from Oakland, that now play in Sacramento. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. For your Thursday, we're starting out plenty of sunshine, and we're feeling that north breeze. North winds expected about 5 to 15 this afternoon. Temperatures will feel a bit warmer as highs will peak in the upper 60s. Expect overnight lows into the 30s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Just like in basketball, you need the right team to win, and that's why I recommend Folsom Lake Kia. They got low payments that change the game, and you can always buy with zero down with approved credit. Shop Folsom Lake Kia and tell them DC sent you.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/radio and use code radio for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/radio and use code radio at checkout.
When you're in the thick of a project, Harbor Freight is the place that always comes in handy. Whether you're picking up something for your pickup truck or a power tool for your project, at Harbor Freight, your dollar always goes further. And these days, when everything seems to cost more, you can take pride in knowing that you get hardworking tools at hardworking prices. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Kyle Draper. You know I'm a big guy, right, everybody? So sometimes, even my SUV or sedan, I want a little more space. Maybe I want to take the fellas to the football game or to the basketball game. Maybe I want to go golfing. Well, Mercedes-Benz of Stockton has the perfect solution. They have a Vans Fleet Center, and they understand your business needs. They understand your personal needs as well. They have a great inventory and a huge selection, and plus they have the perfect van to power your fleet, including the new fully electric e-Sprinter alongside those reliable diesel options. So if you're looking for a new van just for personal reasons or even for your business fleet, head on over to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. And get this, you can take advantage of their exclusive limited time 0% APR financing offer for up to 60 months on select models. So head down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton or online at mbfstockton.com and tell them Drape sent you.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
I don't know. I blame myself. I blame myself for finding ourselves in the booing conversation. I will tell you how we ended up here. Victor Wembanyama is out for the season. He has a blood clot. We are wishing Victor Wembanyama a speeding recovery from the best, a deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. So I asked the question, if you're De'Aaron March 7th, though initially a texter said, should De'Aaron get the surgery? So then, and I thought it was a really good question, but I said, hey, do you want to just get Sacramento over with before that and then get the surgery, if he even gets it at all? Maybe he just waits till the off season at that point, right? I mean, they're not going to get to the playoffs, so it would just be a couple more months. So How do you view it? And somehow we ended up on the booing conversation. And whenever we end up on the booing conversation, Kyle chimes in with his take on it, and it's his prerogative. And here we are. So 916 says, I think Kyle wants to get booed again. As Kyle said, grown men shouldn't grown people shouldn't boo grown adults. 530 says, boo Kyle. And 209 says, boo Monty, not Fox. 916 says, how is booing lame, Kyle? No one can tell a fan how to be a fan. Cheering and booing is a big part of sports. That's the only power a fan gets. Completely disagree with you. And last but not least, we finally have one. 916, a grown man booing another grown man or even a person 20 years younger than you is lame. I can't believe I agree with fake fan Kyle. I don't know why Kyle's a fake fan, but
I think it's the Kansas City Chiefs thing.
Maybe that. So great stuff. Look, man, this is the gift that keeps on giving. And like I said, I don't have a smirk on my face because I purposely did this. I honestly just thought it is interesting. If I'm De'Aaron, I just get it over with.
You know that meme with the green stop sign?
Yeah.
That's you whenever the De'Aaron Fox conversation comes up. It's like, no, let's not talk about De'Aaron Fox. No.
Come on. Oh, well, we're here now. All right, 916. I know why Louie's calling. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Louie. I know why you're here. We know why you're here, Louie. What's up, man? How you doing?
Kyle, come on, man. Come on, man. Hey, I just wanted to call. You know, that's what someone should do, right? I think De'Aaron should come in, play the Kings, and then hang it up for the season. But come on, man. He's not the kind of guy that wants to face his demons. You know he's going to hang it up. Keon's on his head top if he comes here in Sacramento. Come on, bruh. He ain't coming to play in Sac.
Wow. So you think he bows out, gets the pinky fixed, and does not play?
I don't think he's the kind of guy that wants to face his own demons. That He runs away from his issues. Look what he did in Sacramento. You know what I mean? He's going to run away from it. So that's what it is.
Thanks for the call, Louie. Great stuff. As always, I need to see Keon on De'Aaron. I need to see it. Inject that in my veins. I need it. I really do need it. I really
just be chilling for real.
I need Keegan on De'Aaron. We know, what was it, last summer? They would do a lot of one-on-ones working together. I need it all. De'Aaron, please don't duck the smoke. Please.
What's up, Sacramento?
I need it.
De'Aaron Fox is not to be played with right now.
Actually, don't get him mad. Don't get him mad. That's what they say. All right.
De'Aaron Fox is not to be played with right now.
We have plenty of time to talk about that game, and we'll find out if he bows out or not. They play tonight.
See, but even you saying if he bows out,
what's the problem?
You know what you're doing.
No, what's the problem?
If De'Aaron Fox bows out like a quitter and decides not to play.
No. If you're bowing out of the season, what's the problem?
You know what you're doing.
I don't know. He's bowing out. Hey, thanks. Maybe next year. That's fine. I don't know why you're looking at me like that. It's fine. All right. Let's get to this Rob Manfred sound on the A's that play in Sacramento, formerly of Oakland, headed to Vegas.
It was a really positive day. I was glad that I took the time to do it before opening day. That was really my plan originally. I think that the level of excitement in the community is really palpable. I think their desire to have Major League Baseball in the short term and in the long term is really impressive. I think the owners of the River Cats and the owners of the A's have worked very hard together to make sure that for our players, it is as close to a major league experience as it can possibly be. There's a lot of investment that was done in facilities that you just would not have done otherwise. The ballpark is charming. I do think that fans are going to have an opportunity to see Major League Baseball all season long in a really intimate environment. And I'm hopeful that the whole year is going to be a positive force.
Great stuff there from Rob Manfred. And it was Dave, I think, the sun was kind of setting on the idea of Sacramento everything falls through in Vegas, and hey, you're already here. Why don't you just play here? And, we talked to a lot of people about turning it into an MLB an MLB actual ballpark, right? If they were to stay, can you convert Sutter Health into that? And Whitey had some really good notes on how Sutter Health was built and how the weather was really bad, and that's not really possible. They'd have to start from scratch. So because of that, it would more so be hey, we just like Sacramento and thanks for helping us, so we'll stay out here. So it doesn't look good, and I've tried to tell people, look, man, just focus on enjoying these next 3 to 4 years. That's it.
The moment for me where it started to feel like it was going to be real was when the U.S. Bank auditors essentially were like, yep, he's got the cash. They can fund the stadium.
Right.
So if they can put the stadium wherever they want, they'll probably put shovels in the ground in Las Vegas. I know Jay Johnson's still holding out the hope that the $300 million funding gap between what Fisher has pledged and what the state has pledged won't get matched at some point, and that costs will get more expensive over time, and they might bail on the project. But that's going to happen like within the next 4 months if there's going to be any kind of inclination that they might not be going to Vegas. And like Jeff Passan reported when the news first broke last year, the bet from Sacramento is this, and specifically Vivek, is these A's will stay wherever they are if and when the Vegas deal falls through.
Right.
If that happens to be Oakland, cool. If that happens to be Sacramento, even better. But it'll just be an indefinite stay if and when the Vegas thing falls through, and I don't think that's on the horizon at all. Also, why do they keep calling the stadium intimate and cute and all that stuff? It just I don't like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, what else are you gonna? That's the branding that they decided to go with. I mean, what else are you gonna call it? Do you have a better term?
I think Manfred went charming, and I was like, oh man, that's just another way to say small.
Okay. Well, again, these are not terms that you would use for The Bachelor. The Bachelor is never quaint and charming
and intimate.
Right. Well, you might get intimate. All right, we gotta keep this thing going here.
I think also to the point about staying or going or whatever, they want to be in Las Vegas, therefore they're going to end up in Las Vegas because all of the protections for the team have just been completely thrown out the window, right? The baseball was not going to intervene when they left Oakland. They haven't intervened with this once in a lifetime temporary stadium setup. If they were going to stop the A's from doing what the A's were going to do, they would have done it by now. So if there's no guardrails in place, they'll end up wherever they want to end up, whether that's Las Vegas or another country.
Yeah, and as far as the expansion, which remember when that weirdly got leaked when I believe it was Mr. Vivek on that day when it was announced, hey, they plan on adding, it was one team in the East or on the East Coast, one team on the West Coast. I personally think, honestly, as the Giants made a lot of people, a lot of fans confused as to how to feel about the Giants when, they still voted against the A's staying, or they were in cahoots as well as far as the A's moving to Vegas. I do think that when it comes to Sacramento versus the rest of the Portlands of the world and things like that, I do feel like people are underestimating, I would say, the power of the Giants and also just the distance, right? If you're making an argument, I do feel like Portland and other cities are going to come to the table and say, so you're going to give it to Sacramento when they can just drive an hour to go to the Giants, which is why the Giants were totally okay with the A's leaving. So I do feel like that's something that hasn't been talked about enough. And it's kind of tough, right? Sacramento, as somebody who I haven't seen the 415 since I called them out about being a San Francisco number, but as somebody from the Bay Area, not specifically San Francisco, and now living in Sacramento, I think that the separation between the two is much larger in Northern California than nationally. I think nationally, people will look and say, you have a team in San Francisco, you're right there in Sacramento. And also, when people try to sell Sacramento, what do they say? You're a couple hours from everything. You're a couple hours from Tahoe. You're a couple hours from the Bay. So if that's part of your selling point, you can't now say, well, the whole Oakland A's versus San Francisco thing, that's just a different time. Now that they're gone and other cities are bidding and they don't have something that's an hour away, I think it's the same thing with the Valkyrie thing. Why a lot of people in Sacramento were sad because San Francisco got the Valkyries, and how are the Monarchs going to come back ahead of, we just saw Cleveland got a new WNBA team ahead of these other cities that don't have something in driving distance. So how are you, if you're Rob Manfred, even if he's still there, right? It's 5 years, something like that, and then he's done. How are you supposed to sell, well, Sacramento, again, unless it's, well, they scratched our back with the A's thing, because if I'm Portland or one of the other cities that don't have something an hour away, as they always like to sell, the MLB is going to say, you know what, you're kind of right.
Right. The scratch your back thing only works if you have equal bids between everyone.
Right.
And what Portland and what Salt Lake City and what Nashville already have is ownership groups in place ready to pay expansion fees and build Major League Baseball stadiums. Sacramento can get there, but it's going to take a lot from Vivek to be able to get to that point. And I just don't think that is reasonable. Also, your point about the Bay Area encompassing Sacramento is, yes, the further out you go from the map, people start to make that association. When I was growing up, it's the same thing. People are like, who cares if the Chargers are leaving? They're just going up to Los Angeles. I'm like, that's a 3.5 hour drive.
Right. And this isn't even that bad. This is an hour and a half too.
But that's how people outside of Sacramento try to sell Sacramento.
Exactly. And also, sometimes that's how Sacramento tries. It depends. Sacramento does this thing where it depends.
That's how Sacramento realtors try and sell houses to people in the Bay Area moving to Sacramento.
If Sacramento was trying to get the All-Star game, right, part of the selling point for Sacramento would be, hey, when you come out and visit, don't forget, you're only an hour from San Francisco.
No, it will not be.
I think so.
Because then they'll just go to San Francisco again.
No, it's part of the sell. I'm saying sometimes we don't want anything to do with, I'm not saying me, I'm not trying to pretend like I grew up in Sacramento, but sometimes I'm completely separate from the Bay, and sometimes it depends. Hey, actually, we're still kind of close. It depends on what you're trying to sell.
But that's not how NBA All-Star Weekend works. You are basically, for NBA All-Star Weekend, you're concentrated.
No, I'm just saying the larger point is you're battling against cities that don't have anything an hour and a half, 2 hours away. And that's the problem.
Already have funding in place to get an expansion team. Like Nashville is going to get an expansion team. That is set, period, end of sentence. That's going to be the East Coast
That's
team.
The East Coast team.
The West Coast team is Portland or Salt Lake City, and maybe Sacramento can get in the game. But to that same point, scratching the back for the A's doesn't really do anything. And if for some reason John Fisher decided not to go to Vegas and sold, I feel like the Salt Lake City group has the best bid right now because of that Ryan Smith guy.
There's also, you never know about them big wigs in the Bay that might want to be the savior, the Robin Hood, to bring them back to Oakland. But
you mean Lacob?
I didn't say any names. All right, I will say this name. Whitey Gleason joins us on the other side to close out the show. Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now, during our President's Day sales event, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Save thousands with low APR financing and great lease rates on over 500 new Hondas at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Are you feeling trapped by a timeshare you barely use? With maintenance fees piling up, calls from creditors, and the stress of mounting interest, it's time to break free. At RFA Cancellation, they specialize in legally canceling timeshares. If you've received a maintenance fee bill and don't know what to do, you're not alone. Over 2,000 people hired RFA Cancellation last year, and they're no longer paying those fees this year. Imagine starting 2025 free from collections, daily calls, and endless bills. Whether your timeshare is sitting unused or you're overwhelmed by unexpected costs, they're here to help. Call RFA Cancellation today, 800-823-1687. That's 800-823-1687. Their friendly experts will guide you through every step, ensuring a smooth and stress-free process. Don't let another year go by. Get in touch and take the first step toward freedom. RFA Cancellation, your path to financial relief.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
High voltage live boxing action returns to the venue on March 8th as Uppercut Promotions presents Thunder Showdown 2. With 8 big fights, it's a night of great boxing action you won't want to miss. Thunder Showdown 2, coming March 8th to the venue at Thunder Valley Casino Resorts. Fight card subject to change.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Whitey Gleason joins us. 408 says, absolutely do not sell Sacramento as part of the Bay Area. That is ridiculous, and they won't do it. It needs to be self-contained. Nobody wants to drive 2.5 hours. You say it's an hour and a half, but realistically, with traffic, it's not. It's also totally different. Sacramento's its own deal. If getting an all-star game means piggybacking on the Bay, then I don't want it. No, I hear you, 408. Honestly, we kind of lost the plot at the end of that. That conversation was more so about a Major League Baseball team if the A's do go to Vegas. It wasn't really about that. That's all me. Kind of lost the plot there as we got to the All-Star, and I said, well, you know, if you were trying to sell the All-Star game to out-of-towners, you could say, hey, it's in Sacramento, but if you wanted to check out the Bay, you're not too far. That's all it was. I don't think they're going to try to piggyback off of the Bay. The Bay just had it.
We
right?
didn't get an All-Star game, Alan.
You sound like Dave.
No, we've been around and around and around in that.
But what about the hotels?
There's not enough.
No, but they're building them.
Well, there's not enough.
No, we're going to have cruise ships parked in the bay, in the river.
The Kings they've really pushed to get it done, and they've come up with things like, well, some people can stay in Napa, and then we'll bus them in. And like,
the NBA, the NBA said no?
Yes. Well, they didn't accept any of their proposals. You know, the Kings built the arena. It's like, we built an arena. We get an all-star game. No, sorry.
And the boats were real.
it was really proposed. I don't know that it worked.
They were serious about it. The
Yeah.
NBA was not going to say they accepted it, but
Then why is this conversation still happening?
Because I think you kind of naturally fell into that thought of, wow, why can't Sacramento get an all-star game? People are always asking that, wondering.
No, but when I got here, when I arrived here
from,
it doesn't matter from where.
apparently not San Francisco, because he said he's never lived in San
I've
Francisco.
never lived in San Francisco.
Oh man, I heard him go after the 415er. Wow.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's how I get down, YD.
Claws out.
No, that's how I get that. That was light.
Allen Stiles defending the honor of Sacramento.
That's what I do.
I was hoping you could play ludicrous area codes or something.
Yeah.
415. I'm not a 415er.
I'm not. Shout out 925. What were we talking about?
We were just talking about the All-Star game in Sacramento and why it's
And
not
how
gonna
you want
happen.
to pitch the Bay as the reason why you should come to Sacramento.
That's not what I'm doing. No, what I was saying was when I arrived in Sacramento, a lot of people, I'm telling you, we did our Valentine's Day dinner, and the server, who was very much a part of the Sacramento, because we're still kind of new out here. She's talking. I go to a local restaurant.
Yeah,
they're talking about a lot of people still believe they're getting the All-Star, and I don't know why. Yes. They keep talking about we're building hotels, we're doing this, I don't know who gave them this belief, and maybe we need an update on the belief.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, it's trending in the right direction as far as that goes, with the mock-up of the new soccer stadium and with bigger plans for UC Davis football and Sac State football. But as far as the NBA is concerned,
okay. Small potatoes.
Yeah.
Too small.
It's not going to happen in Dave's lifetime, which means it's probably not going to happen in your lifetime, and
what do you think this is?
Probably not going to happen in Whitey's lifetime.
What are you, an actuary or
Yeah,
something?
no, now say it. There's a reason you're not finishing that statement.
Why?
Because it'll happen in your lifetime.
I'm not saying that. I'm
Well,
just
you
saying.
didn't say. You said Dave's, mine, Whitey's, but you stopped there.
I don't know. I plan to live to 100 years old. So I don't know. Maybe we'll make it to 75 years from now and we can have an NBA All-Star game.
I'm already past that.
That's right. That's right. Well,
Yeah.
see, that's like the 8 Mile thing, right? When B Rabbit makes fun of, he makes fun of himself so that Papa Doc doesn't have anything to make fun of him about.
Yeah.
Dave's always getting on you.
Mm-hmm.
See, how come it doesn't work with height? Like if I make fun of myself, it doesn't really make it any better when other people do it.
I wonder if Whitey has ever seen 8 Mile. Have you?
Yeah,
I saw the first 3 and then I tuned out.
Of course he has. Whitey, what's on the show today?
Oh, we're going to have Tony Ray Harvey's going to be in studio. We're going to talk
in studio.
Yes, we're going to talk to Jerry Reynolds today. We're going to talk to, let's see, I bet you Kyle knows this. The number 1 pick in the 1995 NBA draft is going to be on the show.
I think I do actually know.
I'm not surprised, but let's see if you know. Very common name, about as common a name as you could think of.
Is it
Joe Smith?
Oh, yeah. Joe Smith.
Joe Smith's going to be on the show.
I was off. I was off by 1 year.
So anyway, that's what's coming up today on the program.
Wow, great stuff. So how have you been rocking it solo dolo?
Well, I haven't been solo.
I know.
Right.
Jay's been great.
Right.
I've been helping.
You've been helping a lot.
That's
Every
right.
day is like, Allen texted me again. I'm flattered that you listen. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
You know, the whole conversation about the techno golf, that was great stuff.
Watching the YouTube numbers as we talked about techno golf, and watch them.
That is, that's
what is this?
It's the golf on ESPN.
That's part simulator in
big
giant studio.
The TGL whatever.
Techno Golf League, yeah.
Yeah, that thing was so weird.
It is. It's a little odd.
It's also got shot clocks.
Yeah.
Whitey, what do you think about the Victor Wembanyama thing? I had a really good text that said, does De'Aaron Fox shut it down now?
I wouldn't be surprised. It depends how bad the thumb or the fingers? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes the most sense for them. That would be too bad if he doesn't even come here March 7th, but that would be an easy way for him to go.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't even want to do any of that anyway, so yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's
the smartest thing.
Yeah.
You can argue that, well, it's not very noble, but hey, they ain't going anywhere without Wemby, so
right.
See if you can get another shot at better chances at Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
And they've got their own in Atlanta's?
Right. If Atlanta, what they have to lose in they cannot get into the playoffs.
Atlanta?
Yes.
No, Atlanta's is unprotected. The
Right.
Kings give their pick to Atlanta top 12, but San Antonio gets Atlanta's no matter what.
So
also the Spurs could lose every game the rest of the season and still would only have the 5th best odds in the lottery. So I don't
they got some good luck though.
Yeah, they do.
I don't think their tanking odds are that good.
They got some really good luck though. So we'll see how all of that turns out. Thank you for listening to the Allen Stiles Show.
1 minute,
Jay
Alan.
Johnson.
You're trying to get it into the dock, and it's like,
No.
I
gotta keep
I
going,
get
dude.
it into the dock. I see Jay Johnson in the building. Shout out Jay Johnson. We're gonna go golfing soon, so that's all happening.
Techno golf.
The last thing I will say: did we ever get your take on booing?
I don't think we talked about that. No.
Okay, because Kyle, he's been getting booed often on the show because he says, "Hey, don't boo." You know, grown adult, don't boo another grown adult.
I wouldn't. Everyone has a right to. I don't know that I ever have.
Right. I don't know that I ever have, but I have not, but I don't care if you do. I think it's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It's one of the things you pay for.
There you go. All right. Well, Whitey Gleason is coming up with Jay Johnson.
How much time?
No, we're good. We're good now with Jay Johnson. No, I saw a Sack Chat CK916 being a hater, and it's unfortunate. All right. Thank you, Allen Stiles Show. Whitey Gleason. Kyle Draper will be back, but not today. Jay Johnson, fully loaded show like a baked potato. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, all the callers, texters, sack chatters. Until tomorrow, secure the bag like the beam.